Chapter 386, And Who Are You? Chapter 386, And Who Are You? Move aside. Don't you know that you're breaking the law? My brother is inside and Chen is performing surgery. I don't want anyone to disturb him before the surgery ends. Karim and Howard blocked the surgery room's door like two door gods. The patient was shot in the head, the dean said. Hernandez already said that he has no hope. You're just causing trouble now. Then he said to the bodyguards beside him, pull them away. But the bodyguards were quickly sent to the ground by Karim and Howard. If you keep doing this, I'll call the cops, the dean threatened. Mr. Dean, since you already decided that Kane has no hope, why can't you give someone else a chance? For was still calm. She didn't want a conflict to happen and affect Chen Zhao's surgery for Kane. She wasn't sure if Chen Zhao could save Kane, but at least there was still hope. As long as Chen Zhao hadn't come out, there was still hope. You're using my surgery room. I won't lend the room to an outsider with an unclear background. Dean, Kill reminded from the side. That man is a medical professor from UCLA. So what? Are professors allowed to break into other people's hospitals? The dean asked matter-of-factly. Does being a professor mean that he has a license? Dean, lending the room to him actually doesn't pose any problems. How do I know if he's doing anything illegal in there or not? That man damaged the surveillance camera as soon as he entered the room. I have reason to suspect that he's doing something unthinkable. I don't wish to take responsibility for any risks. I don't care. That man needs to come out. If there are any damages to your room, I can pay for it, Winnip said. I said, no. The dean insisted on his own decision. Seeing that Winnip and the others wouldn't back down, he called the cops. The police came shortly after. The two sides had different stories, giving them a headache. Winnip's side insisted that Kane still had hope and that man was performing surgery. The dean believed that Chen Zhao wasn't performing surgery. Instead, he was doing something illegal. You two, move aside, the police advised. Karim and Howard stayed in their spot, not willing to move. Right then, Winnip said, if my man dies in there, I have reason to suspect that the surgery of this hospital had a serious mistake, so you're stopping an expert from saving him to hide the truth. Nonsense. Hill panicked. This had nothing to do with him, but Winnip was pulling him under the water. My surgery follows the hospital's standards. How would I know? Winnip scoffed while looking at the dean. If my man dies because you guys broke in, I'll sue you until the hospital goes bankrupt. I am not joking around. The dean's face alternated between red and pale. Gritting his teeth, he said, okay, I'll wait until he comes out and then I'll see what you can say. You could have said this earlier, Winnip said, sneering. The dean's face was red with anger. Nandes, he called to Hernandez. Call the principal of UCLA. I'm going to report that their staff is breaking the standards of medical practitioners. I want him fired. Winnip couldn't help but get worried. Will UCLA really fire Chen over this? She asked For softly. For was worried, but she couldn't do anything except forge on. It's okay. He doesn't really need this job, anyway. It's just a title for him. Dean, the call is connected. Wright's voice came from the other end of the call. Hello, Wright speaking. Who are you? I am Rosic Juan, Dean of Sacramento Toffagate Hospital. Hello, sir. How may I help you? A professor from your school named Chen Zhao is acting crazily in our hospital. He's performing surgery on someone already pronounced dead and using our surgery room without getting permission. He refuses to come out too. I demand that you fire him. Fuck you. Who are you to make demands? Wright's voice suddenly changed. The last second, she was still a benevolent elder. The next second, her voice was a cold and harsh dictator. I am the previous president of the California Doctors' Council and the principal of UCLA. The current president is my student. Do you qualify to make demands from me? Or do you think the dean of a hospital can order me around? I think I should send someone to your hospital for a health and safety check to see if your hospital meets the requirements. Let me tell you. Chen is performing surgery in your hospital right now, so you better cooperate with him. If your disturbances cause irreparable damage to the patient, I will shut your hospital down. I've already checked. You're a private hospital, right? Perhaps I should suggest to the council to recheck if your hospital is qualified for the license. You. I am not joking. Chen is the best teacher in our school and the best doctor. Since he thinks that the man still has a chance, that means he shouldn't have died. If you have any questions about my words, you can come and visit me at Ukla at any time. But don't say I didn't warn you. Ukla is very dangerous. A professional boxer recently got his arms broken here recently. Clunk. The dean perspired after hearing this. Did he just get threatened by a college principal? She'd threatened him so shamelessly too. He couldn't even reply. He'd given up on refuting her head-on when she'd revealed her status. She was the previous president of the Doctors' Council and the teacher of the current president. If he angered her, they could void his hospital's license. No, even just lowering the rating could send his hospital into the abyss. He was furious, but he had to stay clear-headed. Now, he just wished that the surgery room's door could open soon. A result was more convincing than anything else. Chen's status in Ukla is quite high, Winnip whispered to Four. The principal seems to place high importance on him. The principal mentioned that a professional boxer got his arms broken. Chen's responsible. On the side, Lauren shuddered. This bastard really did every bad thing. Chapter 387, Beating the Dean Up. Chapter 387, Beating the Dean Up. Finally, the operating room door opened. Chen Zhao walked out, exhausted. You finally opened the door. Police, arrest him. Dean Rosick shouted. Chen, how was it? Four asked at once. I saved him, Chen Zhao said, rubbing his forehead. Kane's not dead. Karim and Howard looked at Chen Zhao in excitement. Yes. Chen Zhao turned to look at the two policemen. Do you need to bring me to the police station? The two policemen felt really awkward. Formally, what Chen Zhao had done was illegal. However, he saved someone who had been pronounced unsavable by the hospital. It was really a tricky situation. No way, he can't be alive, Hernandez denied immediately. He has a severe brain injury. The bullet scraps can't be removed, and there is also a massive intracranial hemorrhage which can't be handled. When I came out just now, his brain was already deprived of oxygen and he would die in 30 minutes. Chen Zhao glanced at Hernandez. Can't you just go in and see for yourself? Hernandez glanced at the operating room and then at Chen Zhao in hesitance. It was probably the most conflicting moment in his many years as a surgeon. On one hand, he hoped that his judgment was correct. On the other hand, he also hoped to see the patient alive. It was not just his professional ethics. More importantly, he wanted to witness a miracle. Of course, Dean Rosick beside him did not have such a complicated feeling. Rosick purely hoped that the patient was dead, so that he could attack Chen Zhao. You heard it. He's a trickster. POW. Chen Zhao delivered an uppercut and many teeth flew out from Dean Rosick's mouth. Arrest him. He's trying to kill me. He's trying to kill me. As Rosick screamed, 2 more teeth fell out. Now you have enough reason to arrest me. The 2 policemen smiled bitterly. They had to arrest Chen Zhao now. Sir, please follow us back to the station. Chen, go with them. I guarantee that you'll be fine, Winnip said. Karim, contact my lawyer. I want this hospital to compensate $10 million. Hernandez entered the operating room and looked at the heart rate monitor. It was stable. He then looked at the EEG monitor, which was similarly active and stable. A dead person would clearly not have such data. At the moment, Hernandez really wanted to cut Kane's head open again to see what kind of surgery he had undergone. No way. Puff, Dean Rosick spit out another tooth. Fake. This is fake. He's dead, he must be dead already. Everyone was annoyed. Winnip shouted, beat him up. Karim and Howard had been tolerating the dean until now. When they heard Winnip's instruction, they immediately walked up and gave the dean a combo. I'm going to sue you. I'm going to sue you for malice. Go ahead. As the dean of a hospital, you cursed a patient who had just survived a surgery. You can't wash that away. I'll buy all the media headlines in Sacramento and make you the most famous dean here, Winnip said lightly. I didn't mean that. Dean Rosick finally realized his unwise remarks and attempted to deny it. However, with so many people present, he could not wash it away. Even Hernandez would not help him. Chen Zhao was released from the police station by Winnip's lawyer in less than an hour. When he returned home, he went to bed directly. 4. Is Chen all right? Yes, he's probably just too exhausted. Let him sleep, 4 said. It's just like the last time. How's Kane? He's out of danger now. He's still in a coma, but a comprehensive check confirmed that all the scraps in his brain have been removed. To be honest, I've seen his X-ray image and I can't imagine how Chen managed to save him. If it were me, I would probably pronounce Kane dead just like Dr. Hernandez. Chen Zhao slept for 18 hours, from noon till the next morning. When Chen Zhao and Farley went downstairs, they realized that the atmosphere in the house had already restored. Chen, that's a long nap. Winnip's face was written with ease. After all, Kane was already out of danger. How's Kane now? He woke up briefly last night, but he's asleep again now. Then I'll go and visit him in the afternoon, Chen Zhao said. Winnip nodded. It would be best if Chen Zhao could visit Kane. After all, Chen Zhao had saved Kane and definitely knew his condition very well. Winnip had also just discovered how amazing her prospective son-in-law was as a doctor. He had actually saved a person who was shot by a gun in the head. It was an unimaginable feat for the commoners. Of course, it was because Kane was shot by a small-caliber pistol. And also, Kane's head was harder than the average person. Laurent also came downstairs and sat at the dining table. He was about to eat the egg and sandwich before him when Winnip slapped his hands away. Don't touch it. It's for Chen. Winnip, it was just a coincidence that he saved Kane. You don't have to treat him differently, Laurent said, displeased. If you can save Kane by coincidence, I'll prepare breakfast for you too. I had credit yesterday, Laurent said in dissatisfaction. What? Beating that asshole Dean up? Look, my hand even bled. You injured yourself by hitting someone else? What trash. Chen Zhao proudly enjoyed the special breakfast. Laurent, do you want me to teach you how to beat someone up? I'm really good at it. Also, I'm happy to teach you. Forget it, you're just trying to find an opportunity to hit me. Laurent would not fall for the trap, given that he knew Chen Zhao too well. Chen Zhao was stingy and revengeful. Laurent could still vividly remember how Chen Zhao had taken revenge. He would probably remember them for life. The birthday last night was particularly bad. It almost became his nightmare. Chapter 388, Start of the Script. Chapter 388, Start of the Script. To Laurent, being afraid was one thing. Attitude was another thing. He knew he would be at a disadvantage, but he still had to insult Chen Zhao. He had to do it even though he knew Chen Zhao would treat Farley well. There was no reason other than that he didn't like Chen Zhao. It was just that simple. Mom, are you going to the office today? Farley asked. Yes. Karim and Howard are still at the hospital with Kane. You won't have anyone with you. What if you run into danger again? Farley looked at Winnip with worry. I can't get behind on work, Winnip said helplessly. I must go and take care of matters. How about Chen goes with you? Farley suggested. Winnip, I'll go with you, Laurent said. What use does this kid have? He doesn't look like a good guy. How about we all go? Four suggested. I haven't gone to Mom's supermarket yet. Then what about Princess and the others? Bring them with. Winnip didn't object. They were family, so it was okay to bring pets to the office. After Laurent got onto Chen's RV, he kept muttering and complaining. You'll go bankrupt like this. This car must be a few $1 million. Why couldn't you invest that money? Oh, shut up. You were a senator for more than 30 years and you still can't afford this car. How can you scold Chen? Winnip found Laurent so annoying. Hearing that, Laurent finally shut up. Bradley failed? Boss, he failed. He couldn't kill that old hag Winnip. Failure. Russell's expression couldn't be darker. Boss, if we allow Mara Supermarket to keep expanding, our market will be in danger. Our customer volume last month already went down by 32%. Russell obviously knew this, but two supermarkets competed in commodity flow, prices, and saved capital. Mara Supermarket always had a high credit and borrowed easily from the bank. Its capital was always more stable than Russell's new association supermarket. Even if they sold the same products, Mara's prices would always be lower. Their transport networks extended over many cities. Its scale was much larger than new association supermarkets. This caused New Association to suffer great losses in Sacramento instead of opening up a new market. What really widened the gap was because of the food safety scandal. The one who exposed this scandal was Winnip or Mara Supermarket. She took out the beef as soon as she discovered the first batch of diseased beef in the supermarket. She also compensated the customers and reported the case to the police and FDA. The media even reported this. Of course, Mara's actions received high praise from everyone. Later, it was revealed that New Association also got diseased beef from the same ranch. They'd also discovered the problem but chose to hide the fact. This caused a reduction in New Association's customer flow, while Mara had a new high. After Bradley Ranch's scandal was exposed, the owner started pleading with them. However, they had extremely different attitudes toward Bradley. Winnip refused him directly, refusing to ever sell beef from his ranch in her stores. However, Russell gave Bradley a request to kill Winnip. As long as Bradley could kill Winnip, then his ranch's beef could be sold in New Association again. The ranch would be saved. At least, his family could continue managing the ranch. After Bradley pleaded with Winnip multiple times, he finally gave up and chose to take the risk. Russell thought for a moment and said, "Go find two men." "Boss, what do you want to do? Do you think they'll still be like this if Mara has a food poisoning case?" Russell's lips twitched. "Boss, this is pretty risky. Do it cleanly," Russell said. "No one will get evidence pointing to us." "Boss brought two dogs instead of bodyguards today? Those two dogs are huge. Those aren't dogs. Those are wolves." "How can dogs be that big? No way. How can Boss bring wolves around?" As Winnip walked into the office, the silly twins stood by her side like guards. They basked in everyone's attention majestically. "Boss." Winnip's assistant was just about to report to her when, roar. The silly twins put on a menacing expression, glaring at the assistant who was 3 meters away. The assistant immediately stopped with a terrified expression, not daring to approach Winnip. "Black Ma, White Ma, everyone in the office is our own people. Don't be mean. Off." Winnip patted Black Ma's head. "Daisy, come over. They don't bite." Daisy still didn't dare to get closer. Winnip waved her hand and pointed at the room in the distance. "Go play there." Off. As if finally freed, the silly twins ran away overjoyed. "Boss, this is the financial report for this season. Please take a look." Just then, Winnip's office phone rang. "Hello, Winnip speaking. Boss, a few people are at the supermarket's entrance with a bear and some pets. They want to come in. They say they know you." "Oh," Winnip said. "Let them in. They're my family." She hung up and said to Daisy, "Help me take Black Ma and White Ma to the supermarket. The office is too small. It's not enough for them to play. Boss, will it be okay to take them to the store? Won't they scare the customers?" "Don't worry," Winnip said confidently. "They're very safe. They look big, but they're very likable." Black Ma and White Ma were very popular at L.A.'s Angel Beach. Whenever they appeared, they would attract cheers. At first, Daisy was a bit scared of Black Ma and White Ma. Soon, she discovered their cute side. These two looked big and scary, but they were just two silly things. There was a cactus in the office. Black Ma took it by the mouth and threw it onto White Ma. White Ma purposely knocked over an employee's cup and then pointed at Black Ma. They even knew how to ride the elevator and which floor the supermarket was on. Under Daisy's guidance, White Ma and Black Ma successfully entered the store. They were naturals and went straight for the kids section to play. The kids playing there didn't know to be scared of White Ma and Black Ma. They all started playing with the silly twins enthusiastically. "Hey, are you Black Ma and White Ma?" a kid suddenly asked in shock. Chapter 389, Quality Inspector, Princess. Chapter 389, Quality Inspector, Princess. Daisy realized that a boy had just yelled. There was another 7 or 8-year-old boy beside him, who should be his older brother. "Mom, Black Ma and White Ma came to find us." Ackley and Perry had originally been sitting at the side. Alarmed by their children's voices, they walked over. It's really Black Ma and White Ma. Great. What a surprise to see them here." Perry was delighted too. Last time, they had brought their kids to Angel Beach. Their kayak overturned on the sea. Luckily, they were rescued by 3 dogs. They even took a photo with Black Ma, White Ma, and Walter afterward. They clearly did not expect to encounter Black Ma and White Ma again in Sacramento, hundreds of kilometers away. "Hello, did you bring Black Ma and White Ma here?" Ackley and Perry approached Daisy. "Hi, they're my boss's dogs. Do you know them?" "Yes, they saved our family." Perry and Ackley told Daisy what had happened, which renewed her opinion of Black Ma and White Ma. Just then, Daisy saw a few people walk toward her with an enormous bear behind them. Are they boss's family? The bear is really big and scary. But why is the bear pushing a trolley? There were even 2 smaller bears sitting in the trolley. Chen Zhao walked over, and the silly twins immediately ran toward him. "How come you're here? Aren't you with Winnip?" "Hi sir, boss asked me to bring them here and play," Daisy said, approaching Chen Zhao. "Oh thank you. They're really mischievous." Roar. Suddenly, Princess stopped and grabbed a child candy bag with her paw. "Take it if you want it, but don't eat now. Put it in the trolley and eat when we're outside." Daisy stared at Princess in curiosity. "Can it understand you?" Chen Zhao did not even have to reply as Princess put the candy bag in the trolley. Roar. Princess saw another thing and asked Chen Zhao again. "Take whatever you want. You don't have to ask me." Wow. Big bear. Strong big bear. The few children ran toward Princess. Both Perry and Ackley were astonished. "Sir, it won't harm the kids, right? Don't worry. She's more obedient than Black Ma and White Ma." Just then, Princess took a candy bag from the trolley and passed it to the children who were surrounding her. Everyone stared at her in disbelief. The bear was way too smart. She was also too gentle, somewhat unbelievably gentle. The initial fear in the customers around them was slowly taken over by curiosity. Just then, a customer carefully walked up to Princess and placed a huge sausage before her. "Do you want it?" Princess smelled the sausage and then pointed at the barcode on the packaging. Roar, roar. What did she say? She said she can only eat this outside, not here. "Sir, can I take a photo with her, please?" Of course. The small area was soon crowded with people who wanted to interact with Princess. "Do you eat beef?" Roar, roar, roar. Suddenly, Princess's voice became loud and high. Chen Zhao, who had been sitting at the side, stood up upon hearing her voice. "Mister, where did you get the beef?" "The shelf over there." "What's wrong? Can I take a look at the beef?" Chen Zhao asked. "Is there a problem with the beef?" Princess smelled something on it. Chen Zhao took the beef, which was stored in a package. However, the edge of the film seemed like it had been opened. The beef felt rather grainy, which was definitely unusual. The surface of the beef was slightly darker than it should be. Chen Zhao's expression changed. It was N-nitrosodimethylamine, a highly toxic substance. "Ms. Daisy, call Winnip now. Someone poisoned the food in the supermarket," Chen Zhao said at once. "Princess, stand outside the checkout counter. Check the things every customer buys, especially food. Black Ma, White Ma, search the area for a similar smell." Products and people. Daisy's expression also changed. "Mr. Chen, are you sure?" "Yes, I am very certain." Daisy called Winnip at once. "Boss, Mr. Chen said that our products have been poisoned." "What? Winnip was shocked. Poisoned products could not be taken lightly. If someone was poisoned by the products in the supermarket, it might be forced to close down. Where's Chen? He's asked his pets to search the shop for poisoned products and poisoners. Princess is at the checkout counter to check if anyone has bought poisoned products unknowingly. I'm coming down now. Ask all the staff in the supermarket to cooperate with Chen and his pets. Sir, $89, please. Also, because there's been a safety accident in the supermarket, we need to conduct a check on your food items. Please come here. In his confusion, Jecklid was brought by the cashier to Princess. Princess was just sitting there, but Jecklid's legs trembled in fear. It won't bite, right? When Princess was brought to the cashier earlier, she was terrified as well. However, she soon discovered that Princess was really checking the products of each customer carefully. Raw. Suddenly, Princess took out a packaged turkey. The cashier hesitated for a moment. Princess, are you sure the turkey has been poisoned? Raw. The cashier took out her walkie-talkie at once. Sir, Princess discovered a product that might have been poisoned. Very soon, the supervisor appeared. He said to Jecklid, Sir, I apologize for any inconvenience caused by our negligence. You can take all the products you've got for free, and we'll compensate you this product for 10 times its price. Hi, did someone deliberately poison the products in the store? Jecklid cautiously turned on the pen voice recorder in his clothes. He was a freelance journalist, so he would always carry his camera and pen voice recorder with him. He immediately realized that this was going to be a huge piece of news. Yes. Fortunately, our boss's pet was in the supermarket and she discovered the problem immediately. Now, we're taking every customer here and she'll make sure that no poisoned product will leave the supermarket. We have to ensure the safety of all our customers. Can you introduce the bear to me? Jecklid stared at Princess, his eyes glowing. A quality inspector bear was in a supermarket. Nothing could be more novel than this. Chapter 390 Supermarket Espionage, Pet Storm. Chapter 390 Supermarket Espionage, Pet Storm. Its name is Princess. I only know that it's our boss's pet, but it's really smart. Do you know who's the culprit right now? We can't confirm it yet. We only know that the culprit used N-nitrosodomethylamine. Our boss's other pets are searching the store now. Just then, Black Ma jumped down from the cash register with a piece of beef in his mouth. He tossed it into the basket with the turkey already confirmed to be poisoned. This is... Jecklid looked at the big black dog with amazement. No, this was a wolf. Its name is Black Ma. It's also our boss's pet. It's responsible for searching for poisoned products. This beef must be poisoned too. Is it possible for it to make mistakes? As of now, the 4 products they found and were sent to be tested all came out to be poisoned. Daisy, be ready, Winnip said, expression grave. Start the PR as soon as the media starts reporting the scandal. How many poisoned products have been found so far? 12 have been found. Winnip's spirits were low. Her expression was even more depressing. Whoever poisoned the products was truly crazy. If these 12 items were sold and someone died from food poisoning, Mara Supermarket would really be in trouble. Not even God would be able to help them. Is the culprit found? Winnip asked. Not yet. The poisoned items were all in the camera's blind spots. The culprit is really smart. Winnip thought for a moment. Then we'll wait for the crowd to thin. The culprit won't be able to hide even if he wants to. Princess was guarding the entrance. The culprit couldn't escape. Black Ma and White Ma were patrolling the store too. If they found the guy, he would have nowhere to run to. Boss, our customer flow hasn't thinned. Instead, it's 40% more than usual. What? How is that possible? Earlier, there was already a report about the poisoning, but it emphasized that Princess, White Ma, and Black Ma are doing safety checks in the store. A lot of customers want to see just how smart they are. That works too. Winnip was stunned. 2 newspapers also contacted me. They want to come and film inside the store. More accurately, they want to film Princess, Black Ma, and White Ma. Winnip was tempted. Give them permission, as long as they don't disturb the animals' work. She'd decided. The poisoning had already happened, so she should at least use this chance and Princess, Black Ma, and White Ma for promotions. Boss, the police are here too. They brought dogs. Let them in too, but the searching for poisoned items and the culprit still depends on us. Dumb, what's wrong with you? Russville yelled in anger. I told you to poison them, not to give Mara free advertisement. Boss, what did I do wrong? I followed your instructions and poisoned Mara supermarket. Dumb looked troubled. Now, me and 3 other guys are stuck in the store. The police are here too. Boss, you have to help us, or else the police will find us out. You want me to get you guys out? Don't you know that because of your mistakes, not only did we not hurt Mara, we even gave them free advertisement. They have 40% more customers than usual now. How many of them went to Mara after leaving our store? But we were just following your instructions, Dumb refuted. You can't blame us. I don't care. You couldn't complete the task. Boss, if I and the 3 guys I found get caught, I can't promise we won't rat you out. You're threatening me? Boss, I don't care what you're thinking about. Since I did this for you, you better prepare $1 million for me. Otherwise, you better get a good lawyer. Dumb sneered. He wasn't Russville's dog. If everything went smoothly, anything could work. But now that he was in danger, he had to get something good for himself. You're blackmailing me? I'll kill you. Boss, I'm asking for the payment that I deserve. After all, what I did for you is really risky. Dumb hung up. He didn't see that a small cat on a shelf witnessed the entire thing. Dumb felt something, but when he looked up, there was nothing there. Samuel was already back at Chen Zhao's side. Master, I found a suspect. Chen Zhao held Samuel up and patted his small head. Good job. Mr. Chen, you got something? We found one culprit, he said to Daisy. There are 3 more. The kitty found him? Daisy asked in disbelief. Yes. Lowering his head, Chen Zhao said to Samuel, go tell Black Ma and White Ma not to catch him now. See who else he interacted with. Daisy grew even more doubtful. Are you sure it can send your message? He's really smart. It's just a kitty, right? That's why I say he's smart. Lester was a cameraman for a TV channel. This was his first time following a white dog. For today's job, most of his time was spent running around the store with this dog. He felt like this was a complete waste of time. Could this dog really catch a suspect? Meow. Just then, a cat's meow caught his attention. It caught the dog's attention as well. Lester saw a fist-sized kitty standing on a shelf. The white dog went to the cat. Lester thought the dog would attack the cat. After all, he'd seen many fights between dogs and cats. Much to his surprise, the white dog actually looked up at the cat. The cat meowed a few times and then the dog nodded. They're talking. This thought appeared in Lester's mind. After they talked for a while, the white dog looked back at Lester after telling him to follow. So, Lester followed the big white dog and it started searching with a target in mind. Lester didn't know what it was looking for. Just then, the dog lowered its body and looked at Lester. Woof. You want me to get low? The dog nodded. Lester also lowered himself and pointed the DV at a shelf in the near distance. A hooded man seemed to be looking around. As soon as Lester saw him, he thought that something was wrong with the guy. Chapter 391, Pets in Charge. Chapter 391, Pets in Charge. Aren't you going to arrest him? Lester asked. The white dog shook his head. A strange thought appeared in Lester's mind. Is he going to stalk the man? No way. Is he really that smart? Lester crouched down and pointed the camera over White Ma's back at a hooded man. The hooded man stood there for a long time. Suddenly, a man with colorful hair passed by the hooded man and stopped before the opposite shelf. With his back facing the hooded man, he pretended to be selecting a product, but they were clearly having a conversation. Just then, White Ma started to back away. Lester felt that the dog was literally a human. After leaving the hooded man's visual field, Black Ma appeared. There was also a cameraman beside him. Blackmar, we've found the second person. It's the guy with colorful hair. Go watch him and see if he speaks to anyone. The two cameramen watched the twin dogs have their conversation. Although they had no idea what the dogs were barking, they felt as if the dogs were really communicating. Just then, a red giant lizard climbed out from the bottom of a shelf. Both cameramen were astonished, but the red lizard had no intention of attacking them. Instead, it began to communicate with the two dogs. Is this really a supermarket? This has to be a zoo, Lester muttered. Obito's brought them the clue to the third poisoning suspect. However, they just could not find the fourth suspect. Suddenly, a commotion erupted near the checkout counter. Someone attempted to dash past the counter, but Princess knocked him onto the floor with one slap. Then, the police dogs around surrounded and bit the person tightly. The police also walked up and arrested the person. Shit, why can't Sot just be patient? Dumb cursed softly. Dumb, what do we do? Wait. I don't believe that they'll block the exit forever. Suddenly, Blackmar appeared on one side of the aisle, together with his cameraman. Dumb and the man with colorful hair lowered their heads at once and tried to leave through the other side of the aisle. However, Whitemar and his cameraman also blocked the other side. Dumb and the man were stranded in the middle of the aisle. The two cameramen realized that, unlike police dogs which would attack criminals straight away, Blackmar and Whitemar slowly approached the two suspects. When Dumb put his hand into his clothes, Blackmar attacked immediately. His slow movement earlier was just an illusion. When he launched his attack, he flew across the aisle like a black bolt of lightning. In an instant, he knocked Dumb onto the floor and bit Dumb's arm tightly. On the other hand, Whitemar had been staring at the man with colorful hair. As long as the man did not move, Whitemar would not move. The man did not dare to move and raised his hands. Whitemar slapped the floor with his paw. Confused, the man asked, "You want me to lie on the floor?" Whitemar nodded. Woof. The eyes of the two cameramen glowed brightly. It was truly an excellent material. This piece of news would certainly go viral. Suddenly, on the other side of the supermarket, the last poisoning suspect started to run wildly. Lester, I think something happened there. Go there and film. Leave this scene here to me. Lester immediately chased after the person, but he realized that Obito's, the huge red lizard, was already pursuing the suspect. Obito's was not slow at all. Panicked, the suspect saw a little girl in the way and charged at her directly, attempting to subdue her as a hostage. However, suddenly, a silver beam of light flashed past. A silver fox leaped from one shelf to another, leaving a bloody mark on the suspect's face. Shit, the suspect attempted to grab the silver fox with his hand, but he suddenly felt a sharp pain in his leg. Beelzebub had already torn a piece of flesh off the suspect's leg. Ah! The suspect collapsed onto the floor, covered his leg and screamed loudly. Meanwhile, he took out his gun, wanting to shoot Beelzebub. At the next moment, something appeared on the suspect's arm. A colorful snake wrapped itself around the arm and bit the suspect's hand. The suspect used all his might to fling Raymond away, but Obito's was already in front of him. Slap. Obito's hit the suspect's chest with his huge tail. The man flew backward and knocked over an entire shelf. Lester captured the complete series of actions with his camera. Wow! The various pets had jointly overpowered the atrocious criminal. Each and every pet was unique and useful. Lester could hardly contain his excitement. This would definitely cause an explosion in the media. Boss, all 4 suspects have been caught. All? You sure there are only 4? That's what Mr. Chen said. All right. I suppose it should be correct then. Have you found out who sent them here? The owner of New Association Supermarket, Daisy replied. Damn, I knew it was him. Winnip's face darkened. Also, when we interrogated Dumb, one of the suspects, we found out that he had actually instigated Bradley to shoot you yesterday. That bastard. Do they really think that I'm a pushover? Boss, what do we do now? Tell the media immediately. Let everyone know what New Association Supermarket and Russville have done. That day, the media in Sacramento erupted. The supermarket poisoning case was staged in various engrossing forms. Mara Supermarket became totally famous, in addition to receiving another name, the Zoo Supermarket. After all, the poisoning case had actually been solved by a group of different pets, from discovering the problem to capturing the suspects. The police supported them. The pets had displayed their astounding intelligence and capability. The final scene, where the group of pets teamed up to deal with the evil criminal, even became a tale to be told. Of course, all of this had another direct consequence. Mara Supermarket became unbelievably popular. Those who would not usually shop there especially rushed to the supermarket to meet the group of little heroes. Of course, Princess was no little hero. But she was surely the most glorious and important character. After all, she was the first to discover the attempted poisoning. Then, she even stationed herself behind the counter to search for poisoned products and caught a suspect who tried to escape. Chapter 392 – Another Screenplay Sold. Chapter 392 – Another Screenplay Sold. Chen, give them to me. I'll give you both of my daughters. I love them so much. Winnip hugged Princess's head and kept patting and ruffling. Mom, I don't care about Farley, but am I that cheap? For asked unhappily. Winnip rarely got the chance to be playful. Her moods were really like a roller coaster today. When she learned that someone had poisoned her store, it felt like she'd fallen into an abyss. Who would have guessed that there would be such a theatric development? Not only did nothing bad happen, but Mara Supermarket also got great publicity. Go ask them. Whoever's willing to stay can stay. Speechless, Winnip rejected him. Of course, she didn't expect Chen Zhao to accept her proposition. It had just been a joke. Chen Zhao would never agree. Okay, I know it's impossible, but you have to lend them to me for these few days. Half of the store's customers are here for them. Ring. Chen Zhao's phone went off. Hello. Rasfa, what's up? You're in Sacramento, right? How do you know? Your entire family is in the news and you're asking me how I know? You saw the news too? I don't usually watch this kind of news, but my company had a copyright meeting and I hosted it. Our employees think that what happened to your family has a great market. If we adapt it into a movie, it can have a lot of potential. You want to buy the copyright again? Yes. How about it? Sell it to me. Your company bought the copyright to that other movie, but you haven't started filming it, right? It's not conflicting. What price? No bargaining, $500,000. Chen Zhao considered it. The price is okay, but I hope that Mara Supermarket's name can be included in the script. What's your relationship with the supermarket? It's Farley's mother's store. Sure, Rasfa agreed easily. Usually, this kind of product placement had to be paid for. It could cost a few million or even $10 million. However, since the business was related to Chen Zhao, Rasfa didn't mind giving it to him. After discussing with Rasfa, Chen Zhao told Winnip about it. After all, if this event could be turned into a movie, it would be very beneficial to her store. After hearing that a film company bought the rights and may turn it into a movie, she was immediately interested and started asking Chen Zhao questions. Chen Zhao couldn't give any exact answers. After all, whether the movie could be filmed wasn't up to him. Some companies bought the rights not to film a movie but to make sure competitors couldn't get the rights. Chen Zhao estimated that PLM wouldn't start this project in at least half a year. Right, did you catch Russville, the guy that hired the poisoners? Chen Zhao asked. Winnip smiled. It was Chen Zhao's first time seeing such a cruel smile on her. The police will probably never find him. Chen Zhao didn't keep asking. Some things were better left unspoken. The fourth day after the shooting, Kane was brought home. Kareem and Howard came back too. Kane's condition wasn't bad anymore. He didn't have many problems other than being a bit weak. If you insisted on a problem, it was that he was bald now. He wanted to cry because Princess kept coming over to touch his head. Stop touching my head. I can feel my skullcap moving. Stop licking. I feel spit getting into my wound. Chen, are you sure Raymond doesn't want to hibernate on my head? Chen Zhao glanced at Kane. It couldn't be helped. Earlier, Chen Zhao had used the perfect potion when treating Cain. There were still remnants inside Cain's head. It was good enough that Princess and the others didn't open up his skull again. I'm so bored. Let's go fishing, Laurent suggested. Not going, Chen Zhao refused directly. Anyway, he decided that he'd rather die than ever go out with Laurent again. Who knew if Laurent wanted to prank him again? Laurent glanced at him. I wasn't asking you. Cain, Karim, Howard, let's go. Laurent took the 3 bodyguards fishing. Farley and 4 went shopping again. Winnip brought the group of pets to the supermarket because they were very popular. Mara's customer volume expanded greatly recently. No one would have thought that these pets could double Mara's customers. Chen Zhao didn't laze around by himself at home. The new house at Mirror Lake was getting decorated. There were many things that he needed to be asked about. Bant and Felwood had to communicate with him often. The housekeeping system was installed already. They had to discuss with Chen Zhao about installing other furniture too. Otherwise, it would be more troublesome to fix things afterward. Mr. Chen, I think this wall should have some color. White is the main theme, but if everything is all white, it's too monotone. You can add a scenic painting here to add some color. It also complements the river view from the floor-to-ceiling window across from it. Sure, but I don't want it to be too flashy. Also, are you sure you don't want to add anything to the second basement? No need. It doesn't need any style or design. Just whitewash the walls. He thought for a moment. Oh, go to the first basement. I want to see how it feels overall. Felwood rode the elevator to the first underground floor. He opened a video chat and showed Chen Zhao what the floor looked like after construction. From the bottom of the stairs to the floor-to-ceiling window on the outer wall, don't do anything other than whitewash the walls along the path. I'm going to put a large-scale piece of art there. Okay, understood. Can you tell me what kind of art? A skeleton model. I found a Hollywood expert to make a monster's skeleton. Then how about I make the walls darker? Okay. Also, help me try out the housekeeping system. Notify me if there are any problems. Okay. Chen Zhao was the most satisfied with the first underground floor. The curved floor-to-ceiling window was 12 meters long and 3 meters wide. You could see the bottom of the river. However, construction had just finished, so the water needed some time to settle before it cleared up. Chapter 393 Leisure Mode, Fishing. Chapter 393 Leisure Mode, Fishing. Then, Chen Zhao asked for some of the electrical appliances to be moved into the house. He spent the entire afternoon talking to people regarding his new home. In the evening, Laurent, Cain, Karim, and Howard came back. They were carrying a giant catfish that weighed over 50 kilograms, which looked really awesome. Chen, look at what we've caught. Laurent flexed proudly in front of Chen Zhao. Isn't it just a big catfish? Look at how happy you are. Go and fish one too, if you can, Laurent immediately taunted. Chen Zhao twitched his lips. He would not go fishing because of such an inferior taunt. Soon, Winnip, Farley, and 4 returned one after another. When Laurent saw them, he incessantly showed off to them what he had gained. Unfortunately, just like Chen Zhao, none of them was slightly excited about it. Laurent was very much displeased by their perfunctory tone. Nevertheless, everyone relished the barbecue. Unlike mammalian meat, which would become tougher as the mammal ages, fish would only become more tender. Winnip, Farley, and I plan to go back the day after tomorrow. So soon? Why don't you stay for a few more days? I don't think so. Our new house is more or less completed. We need to go and sort things out. All right. Dad, Mom, when will you come to Los Angeles again? Ask your mom. I'm free every day, Laurent said. Dad, I welcome you to come alone too, Farley said. Laurent glanced at Chen Zhao and sneered. If he were to go to Los Angeles by himself, he would surely be killed by Chen Zhao. He was not stupid enough to run into a tiger's mouth. In their final day here, Farley and 4 activated their shopping frenzy. On the other hand, Chen Zhao entered a rest mode. Lying down was perhaps the greatest happiness he could receive. But things just would not go as planned. Bump, bump. Chen Zhao opened his eyes and realized that Laurent was kicking the lounge chair. What? Chen Zhao asked. Look at the lovely weather. Let's go fishing. Chen Zhao was really annoyed by this childish father-in-law. No. Chen Zhao was convinced that as long as he ignored Laurent's plots would not succeed. Don't be stubborn. Let's go. I can't leave you here alone. Who needs your sympathy? Chen Zhao did not even want to give a reply. Stop pestering me. Just as he closed his eyes, he suddenly felt some pain in his arm. Opening his eyes, Chen Zhao realized that Laurent was standing at the back of the small truck, hooking him with the fish hook. Laurent, do you really want to die? Come and hit me if you can, Laurent shouted in satisfaction. Kane, drive. However, the truck did not move. Kane, did the bullet destroy your intelligence? Quickly drive. Mr. Laurent, did you forget to refuel the truck? Laurent watched as the enraged demon walked toward him. He immediately smiled in fear. Chen, I was just joking. Don't take it seriously. Chen, let's go fishing. It's so boring to stay at home alone. Yeah, let's go. Fishing is actually quite interesting, Karim and Howard also persuaded. Chen Zhao thought about it. Unable to reject their coaxing, Chen Zhao eventually jumped onto the back of the truck. 2 kilometers away from the farm, there was a turbulent, fast-flowing river that was more than 20 meters wide. When the group alighted from the truck, there were already a few people fishing by the river. Laurent, why are you here again? An old man said with a mocking tone. Why can't I be here? Laurent really wanted to ignore the old man. Laurent, did something happen? Chen Zhao asked softly. Although he hated Laurent, it was only their family business. Chen Zhao would not deliberately embarrass Laurent outside. Nothing. Laurent did not want to tell Chen Zhao about it. Yesterday, the 4 of you did not succeed. Do you think you can make it with an Asian shorty? Ha! Chen Zhao glanced at the 3 bodyguards. They all turned their heads away and kept silent. Suddenly, the old man who had just mocked Laurent leaned forward and fell onto the ground. With his fishing line taut, he was soon dragged into the water. The people around him quickly rushed into the river and pulled him out. Cough, cough. Chapter 394, Being Old but Unrespectable, No Contradiction. Chapter 394, Being Old but Unrespectable, No Contradiction. Kid, you have stick arms and legs. Be careful you don't get dragged down by Earl Eric later. The guys who didn't get along with Laurent started mocking when they saw Chen Zhao sitting there and fishing alone. Old grandpas, your bodies are all old now. Chen Zhao didn't back down at all. Don't play these physical games here. Just sunbathe and take in the fresh sea air. Probably even a small fish can drag you into the water, let alone Earl Eric. There was no need to respect the elders now. They didn't look like gentlemen either. They started mocking Chen Zhao as soon as they saw him. Chen Zhao wouldn't respect them either and just shot an insult back. So uncultured. No manners. The old men immediately started yelling. Laurent, where did you get such an unmannered kid from? Laurent and Chen Zhao had the same thought. This is my in-law. I don't have to like him, but I won't let you outsiders talk about him. You old things have 1 foot in the grave already, Laurent cursed. It's none of your business where I got him from. If you don't like it, then get the stick out of your ass first. Laurent, don't think you can talk like that just because you have more guys. Yeah, I have more guys. Laurent yelled. So what? Wanna fight? Chen Zhao's combat power was great. He wouldn't lose to anyone. The old guys grew furious too. Okay, you want to fight with numbers, huh? I'll call more guys. They all started calling people. Powell, who'd been dragged into the water earlier, seemed to manage a farm. He immediately yelled into the phone, Pacey, get everyone on the farm and come to the fishing hole. Do what? Fight, obviously. Whoever doesn't come can fuck off forever. The others were similar. They were either the owner of a farm or ranch. This was like a party for farm and ranch owners, and each one had angry expressions. It seemed that conflicts weren't rare. They all looked experienced at calling men over. Mr. Laurent, I think they have more guys than us. Mr. Laurent, you offended too many people. Chen Zhao was speechless too. Was this old guy digging a ditch for themselves here? Offending one or two guys was okay, but going against the whole world? Laurent faltered too. Chen, you'll help me fight later, right? We can put our rivalries behind first. When there are other enemies, we have to fight them together. Chen Zhao was clear about this, at least. You could fight however you want behind closed doors, but when there were outsiders, they had to unite. That's good. But those old guys kept calling more and more people. Even Chen Zhao wasn't sure anymore. Those farm and ranch owners could call 7 or 8 guys each. For groups came, totally to more than 30 men. They were men who spent their days doing farm or ranch work. Each one was tall and muscular. Many of them were even bigger than Karim's trio. Laurent, don't say that I didn't give you a chance. Powell said arrogantly. You and that Asian apologize to us now. Otherwise, all of you will feed the fish in the river today. Laurent and Chen Zhao's expressions were both unnatural. The other side had too many people, while they only had 5 men. One of them, Kane, was also injured and definitely couldn't fight. Laurent was a bit old. He was useless even if he tried. Only Chen Zhao, Karim, and Howard could fight. Chen, how many can you take? Karim asked. Howard also looked at him. Chen Zhao calculated a little. How about you guys? I can take 6, Karim said. Then, me too, Howard said. Okay, Chen Zhao said. Give the rest to me. Are you sure? Everyone looked at Chen Zhao. Karim and Howard took 12, so there were at least 20 left. Could Chen Zhao really take care of 20 men? I don't know. I've never fought with so many people before. Powell started speaking again. If you're scared, it's not too late to surrender. Yeah, don't get your brains smashed later. You think you're so powerful just because you have more people? Try one-on-one. Laurent yelled. You're the one who wanted to compete with numbers. How come you're scared now? Coward. Weakling. Politicians are all like this. Chapter 395 Fight. Chapter 395 Fight. Bam. Chen Zhao walked up and punched the big guy. Everyone heard the grating sound of his fist moving through the air. Then, the big guy slowly fell backward and collapsed on the ground. Oman, get up. Stop pretending dead. Stand up now. Nobody believed that the seemingly weak Chen Zhao could knock Oman out in one blow. Laurent and the bodyguards also watched in disbelief. Oman was the best fighter in the region. If it was just fighting, even Karim, Howard, and Kane were no match for Oman. However, Chen Zhao had just defeated the bull in one punch. No matter how the crowd tried to call him, Oman did not wake up. What a mean person. You sneak attacked him. Are Asians also mean? Chen Zhao shrugged. He invited me to hit him thrice. I've just made one punch and he's already down. How disappointing. It's not a boxing tournament. Go and beat him up. Powell shouted in anger. Everyone charged toward Chen Zhao. A cowboy hugged Chen Zhao, but he was immediately flung into the river. And then went the second and the third. Karim and Howard also took part in the fight, adding to the chaos. Although it was a mess, Chen Zhao, Karim and Howard were actually not losing. Nevertheless, they were being hit as well. They were clearly hit more often than they were able to hit others. Karim and Howard could not take the fight for much longer. In the end, Chen Zhao had to help them. Fuck off. Chen Zhao threw another person into the water. Fool, don't throw him into the river. He'll be uninjured when he climbs up. Punch him instead. Laurent watched the battle anxiously. Bam! A farmer punched Chen Zhao's face, but Chen Zhao was completely fine except for a minor wound on his lip. Chen Zhao returned a punch and the farmer fell unconscious at once. After 10 minutes or so, both Karim and Howard were lying on the ground, but Chen Zhao was still standing. On the other side, 20 people had fallen down, most of which were due to Chen Zhao. Only a dozen people were standing. However, they were also somewhat injured. Chen Zhao did not kill anyone. After all, they were not irreconcilable enemies. It was like a street fight. No sane person would stab another person with a dagger. The dozen people did not really dare to go close to Chen Zhao. They had seen how terrifying Chen Zhao was. It was almost impossible to hurt Chen Zhao without a weapon. Chen, beat them up. Beat all of them up. Laurent had no intention to bury the hatchet. Of course, Chen Zhao had no such intention too. This time, instead of counterattacking passively, Chen Zhao charged into the crowd. Immediately, the place was enveloped in painful groaning. None of the people were actual fighters. Chen Zhao could easily finish a person with one punch, although he had to be careful with his strength. He could neither attack too heavily nor attack too lightly. Chen Zhao beat the rest of the crowd up as quickly as he could. Howard and Karim felt that even if they were not present, Chen Zhao would have won the fight. What a humanoid monster. Why would they even provoke such a monster in the first place? Old men, would you like to apologize, or be thrown into the river? There was no way Chen Zhao would hit these old people. If he was slightly careless, he might very well be sued. Nonetheless, he could throw them into the river and nothing would happen. The few old ranchers and farmers looked as if they had just stepped on dog shit. Who's this Asian? How could he have defeated so many people? Is he a Chinese? Does he know Kung Fu? Right, all Chinese know Kung Fu. All right, you win, Powell said in indignance. And I apologize for what I have said and done. There were no right or wrong in this fight, only win and loss. The person who won was right. Chen Zhao won, so he was right. Chen Zhao roared. Then, an enormous creature jumped out of the river, but it immediately fell back in, creating a huge wave. Earl Eric. It's Earl Eric. It's huge. Wow, this guy could surely eat a human. Everyone started to scream in excitement. Those who had been lying on the ground also got up on their feet. Everyone knew that there was an Earl Eric in the river, but not all of them had seen it, including some people who had been fishing here for many years. Today, they were fortunate enough to see Earl Eric for themselves. Chen Zhao clutched the fishing rod, unable to pull it. The fish was too powerful. With its own weight, Chen Zhao felt that it was at least a ton of force. The situation went into the stalemate. The fishing rod had already been bent into an arc. As Earl Eric continued to struggle, ripples appeared constantly and the water became muddy. Chen, do you need help? Karim and Howard asked, rolling their sleeves upward. Chen Zhao shook his head but did not speak. He had to use all his strength to fight Earl Eric. Karim and Howard would only affect him instead of helping him. In fact, Chen Zhao and Earl Eric were not only testing their strength, but also their endurance. It all depended on which of them could persist till the end. Everyone held their breath as they watched Chen Zhao and the creature struggling in the river. While they looked forward to Chen Zhao pulling Earl Eric out of the water, they also hoped that Earl Eric could escape. They did not want Earl Eric to be caught by an outsider, especially when he was their enemy. Moreover, Earl Eric was also a belief and obsession for them. If the river lost Earl Eric, they would lose their interest. Everyone watched the fierce battle nervously. Laurent looked at the fishing rod which had almost been bent to the maximum. Chen, you can do it. Chapter 396, Simba and Nala. Chapter 396, Simba and Nala. Crack. A sharp crack rang through the air. The fishing pole whipped back, making Chen Zhao stumble back. The string had snapped. Everyone was a bit disappointed but also happy. They were happy because Earl Eric wasn't caught by an outsider. Their belief and wishes could continue. But they were disappointed because even someone as strong as Chen Zhao couldn't catch Earl Eric. Could anyone fish it out? Chen Zhao shrugged helplessly. It wasn't his fault. Even the tempered fiber string had a limit to what it could bear. Even though he was disappointed, he didn't obsess over it. Plus, even if he did catch such a large fish, he probably had to let it go in the end. Laurent didn't see Chen Zhao pull Earl Eric onto land, but he'd brought Chen Zhao here, so he was still proud. Ha! Powell, how's Chen? Better than your failures, right? Powell didn't speak. After all, he'd lost the fight. As of now, Chen Zhao was also the only one who could go up against Earl Eric. In the past, everyone who'd tried to go against Earl Eric had failed. In fact, Earl Eric's highest record was pulling 6 guys into the water at once. It was the King of the River. Today, the King of the River met its match. So, he'd lost utterly and completely today. On the way back, Chen Zhao was upset. He'd come out to fish but didn't catch any. Instead, he had to fight and go home with a face of bruises. How could he be happy? On the other hand, Laurent looked satisfied as if he'd won a fight. As expected, Chen Zhao couldn't fool around with Laurent anymore. Whether he did it on purpose or not, Laurent was just bad luck. Chen, if you can catch Earl Eric, I'll let you be with Farley. You're crazy. Chen Zhao didn't feel like caring about someone as immature as Laurent. He had no hope. It was his last day here though, so he didn't give Laurent a hard time. When they got home, Farley, Four, and Winnip had returned too. They saw Chen Zhao, Karim and Howard come in with bruised faces. You guys went to fight. It was amazing, Laurent said, spittle flying. We taught that old asshole Powell a lesson. You can't imagine how pissed he looked. It was great. Winnip glanced at Laurent, completely unimpressed. What does this have to do with you? Did you fight? I didn't fight, but if I didn't give strategic pointers from the side, Chen wouldn't have been able to win at all. Laurent shamelessly assigned the honors to himself. Chen Zhao didn't feel like refuting him. Do whatever you want as long as you're happy. Next day, Chen Zhao, Farley, and Four packed up and prepared to return to L.A. Winnip bid farewell to them one by one. As for Laurent, he still looked at Chen Zhao with a hateful expression. Chen Zhao didn't act nicely either. When they hugged, they expressed their hatred without holding back and cursed each other. Come to L.A. when you have time. I'll let you enjoy a near-death experience. You better never come to Sacramento again. Next time, I won't welcome you so gently. Ha! As if you can do anything to me. Don't get cocky. I didn't prepare well enough. Next time, I won't let you leave Sacramento alive. I'll be waiting. Don't disappoint me, old asshole. Chen Zhao went to the car. Winnip then said goodbye to each pet. When they left, Winnip cried. No one knew if it was for Four and Farley or Princess and the others. What did you say to Dad? You guys seemed unwilling to part, hugging for so long. Farley was still fooled by the fake friendship. She didn't see the truth at all. I invited Laurent to L.A. He says that he's excited to go next time. You guys have a great relationship. Are men's friendships also pure? Ha! Four glanced at the rearview mirror and scoffed. Four would drive this time, but she demanded that Chen Zhao and Farley had to be within eyesight. They couldn't do inappropriate things as if no one was around. 4. Drive to the Sacramento Zoo. Why? Say bye to a friend, Chen Zhao said. You made new friends in Sacramento? Farley and Four were shocked. If Chen Zhao went to say bye to him, then they must be great friends. When they reached the zoo, Chen Zhao went to the Africa part. Shaman was already waiting. Farley and Four were surprised to see him too. Shaman, you and Chen know each other? When did you guys meet? Shaman chuckled wryly and changed the subject. My princesses, how are you two? I'm very well. I'm good too. Oh, Chen said he's here for an old friend. Who is he meeting? Shaman glanced at Chen Zhao, who looked back at him. He made the staff leave and opened the door to the lion cage. Chen Zhao walked in. Farley and Four watched as Chen Zhao went to interact intimately with a pride of lions. They were immediately frightened. After a while, Chen Zhao walked out of the cage with 2 cubs. Farley and Four were both confused. These were 2 newly born lion cubs, right? Chen Zhao had promised the lioness to take her babies that were about to be born. She didn't want her babies to be trapped in this tiny cage. Don't let anyone see, Shaman said. Thank you, Mr. Shaman. We're even now. Shaman clearly didn't have a good impression of Chen Zhao. After all, he was stealing 2 baby lions right before his eyes. Back in the car, Farley asked, Chen, are we going to raise them? Yes. Is Shaman the friend you wanted to say bye to? No, it's their parents, Chen Zhao said. Farley could tell that Chen Zhao loved these cubs. What are their names? Simba and Nala. Chen Zhao had already decided on these names. It was the pair from Lion King. They were a couple in Lion King, but these 2 were siblings. If he had the chance, he would send them back to Africa. Of course, he needed both the chance and the ability. He didn't have the ability right now. They also couldn't survive on the African plains. Merely a baboon could kill them. Chapter 397, New Home. Chapter 397, New Home. The return journey was much smoother. Nothing really happened, except for Four's complaints. Shortly after they departed, Chen Zhao and Farley disappeared from the rear-view mirror and their voices began again. The whole journey took 8 hours. Chen Zhao sent 4 back first. Then, they went straight to their new home at Mirror Lake. It was the first time they saw their new home in its complete form, apart from the small saplings that had yet to be fully grown. When the planted trees were fully grown, half of the villa would be covered, leaving only its top visible. By then, it would look like a white gem among the sea of trees. When they arrived, there were still people inside putting the finishing touches. Mr. Chen, Ms. Farley, hi. Felwood approached them and shook their hands. Then, he led the 2 into the villa, introducing them to the various areas. Chen Zhao had to admit that buying the piece of land and building such a villa here was really a wise choice. The villa fitted perfectly with the environment. From the master bedroom to the guest rooms, there was glamorous scenery. The rooms faced either the lake or the waterfall. On the first floor, there was a living room connected to the forecourt, which, situated on the left side of the villa, was connected to the lake and the small dock. The backyard was huge. Covered with grass, it was enough for all of Chen Zhao's pets to play on. On the second floor, there was a master bedroom, a working room, and a bathroom. The third floor had 3 guest rooms and a living room. All the guest rooms had individual bathrooms. Above the third floor was the rooftop, which would be an ideal place for one to spend one's leisure time. Using the elevator, Felwood brought Chen Zhao and Farley to the garage. The garage was underground, for otherwise it would destroy the aesthetics of the entire building. Right above the garage was the swimming pool. The swimming pool was beside the waterfall. If one were to play in the pool, one would even feel the water vapor blowing from the waterfall. However, if a rainstorm caused the waterfall to flood, polluted water would easily enter the swimming pool. This was the only drawback. After every rainstorm, the swimming pool would need to be cleaned, which was nonetheless acceptable. Considering the climate of Los Angeles, it was unlikely for a rainstorm to occur here. It would probably happen no more than once or twice a year. What's the soonest time we can move in? Chen Zhao asked. Actually, you can move in now, but let my workers leave first, Felwood said. If you encounter any problems with the quality of the building, you can call me anytime. I'm available 24/7. To be honest, Felwood was really grateful to Chen Zhao for giving him his first major project. In addition, Risfar, Chen Zhao's friend, even introduced him to other projects. Because of that, Felwood's construction company had gotten through the difficult survival period and was on track. Sure. Thank you. Chen Zhao paid Felwood the remaining amount. Both he and Farley were very satisfied with the villa, which they thought was truly flawless. Felwood's workers helped Chen Zhao and Farley to carry some of their luggage into the house. Mr. Chen, Ms. Farley, please open all the windows for the next 2 days, so that fresh air can blow away some of the gases in the building. Of course, we've used toxic-free and harmless materials and paints, so you shouldn't be worried about pollution and harmful gases. Every floor also has an air quality monitor, which is connected to the automation system. Everyone else left. Only Chen Zhao and Farley were left in the villa. Farley, Do you want to try our large bed? Chen Zhao pulled Farley and could not wait to try the super large bed. Wait. You promised me that when we move, I'll see a legendary creature. Where is it? Let's go to basement 1. Chen Zhao held Farley's hand and they went to the basement. Where is it? Farley scanned around but there was nothing. Chen Zhao pulled Farley to the windows. Look outside. At the moment, the lake water was somewhat dusky. Aquatic grass was swaying in the water and Farley could not see anything clearly. Suddenly, something flashed past the windows. Farley was astonished, but she still did not get a good view. What was that? A snake? Farley asked, uncertain. Chen Zhao knocked on the window. Finally, the thing began to approach them. It was a snake, but it had 9 heads. It was Little 9, the hydra that Chen Zhao had obtained in hell. When he first received Little 9, it was only as long as a finger and definitely less than 20 centimeters. It had been staying in Blackie's space crevice since then. Now, it was already more than 2 meters long and its 9 heads were also much bigger. It looked like a small python. Farley placed her hand on the window, her face filled with bewilderment. 9-headed hydra? I mean, the hydra in the legends. It's called Little 9, my pet. While Farley was shocked, she was not scared. After all, having stayed with Chen Zhao for so long, she was already very tough-minded. Moreover, the silly twins could even combine into a 2-headed wolf. Chen Zhao had also warned her in advance. Mentally prepared, Farley was not afraid at all. Furthermore, Little 9 did not look very fearsome at the moment. In the house, there were a few pets larger than it. Princess was obviously one of them, weighing over 1,000 kilograms. Black Ma and White Ma were also over 100 kilograms heavy. Obito's had been growing quickly too. He was almost 200 kilograms heavy, while Walter weighed 80. And there was also Raymond. Although Raymond was not a python, he had also grown from a small, colorful snake into an enormous one. At the moment, he was 2 meters long. What does it eat? Snakes. Snakes. It eats its own kind. Actually, it eats everything, but snakes are its favorite. The more poisonous the snakes are, the more it likes them. Is it stronger than Raymond? Farley asked another weird question. Perhaps she was worried that Raymond would be eaten by it. Raymond is stronger, but it's rarer. Who is smarter? Raymond, Chen Zhao said. The cleverest ones we have are Beelzebub, Raymond, and Carrie. They can understand whatever you tell them. Black Ma and White Ma are idiots, but they can also understand most things. And then Obito's and Samuel. Obito's is a kid, so he is really mischievous. Samuel is small too, right? Samuel is quite special. He should be very clever, but he just isn't. Chen Zhao said. How about Walter and Princess? And Briar, Bramble, Simba, and Nola? Walter and Princess should be about as clever as Little 9. They can understand most of your commands, such as taking a bottle of wine for you, but they may not understand why you ask them to do that. Briar, Bramble, Simba, and Nola are still ordinary animals now. I don't plan to develop their intelligence yet. Maybe when they're older. Chapter 398, 3 Dogs Entering New Home. Chapter 398, 3 Dogs Entering New Home. Suddenly, a black shadow loomed over Little 9. Amorn. Amorn had come. He'd gotten even bigger. Swimming past the glass window, the entire view turned black. Farley had seen Amorn before, but it was her first time seeing Amorn's full body. He was like a prehistoric beast. His figure contained a repressive aura. The current that he created overturned Little 9. Can killer whales be in freshwater? Farley asked in shock. Yeah, Chen Zhao answered. Actually, there had been records of killer whales entering fresh water from the sea long ago. For example, there had once been a group of killer whales in the Thames River in England. Of course, they couldn't stay in freshwater for too long. Most of them were used to the salt in seawater. Being in freshwater for too long would damage their bodies. This was unrelated to Amorn though. He was a demon, not a true killer whale. Freshwater and seawater were the same to him. Chen Zhao took out the monster skeleton and placed it on the side of the basement. The bones were close to 10 meters long and the creature was four-legged, similar to Obito's. Of course, there was no way that it was a dragon. Chen Zhao and Farley took a long time to assemble the bones. Chen, are you sure it's okay to put this skeleton here? What problems can we have? We'll just say that it's a man-made piece of art. No one will suspect anything. That's true. Farley was reassured. The house was habitable now, but they couldn't stop. After all, they still had to buy large amounts of everyday items and groceries. Chen, I think you should buy another car so you can go places more easily. You can't drive an RV to buy groceries, right? Okay, I'll go buy one tomorrow, Chen Zhao said. Oh, let's invite all our friends for a housewarming party since we've moved now. Sure. Let's invite the members of the Coastal Rescue Guard too, especially Robio. He designed our house. They obviously had to invite Robio. Chen Zhao had to invite his friends too. He just didn't know what the scene would be like when Ethan, Caprice, and Robio met. Oh, we have a special pet too. What special pet? My friend asked me to take care of it. It's not an average pet, right? A three-headed hellhound. Three-headed hellhound? Farley was both scared and excited. When can I meet it? You should say them. The three heads have separate minds, Chen Zhao said. I'll introduce you tonight. Are they dangerous? They're like Walter. They're not dangerous as long as they know you. At night, Chen Zhao and Blackie went to the basement one last time and took the three dogs out. Chen Zhao rode them back to Mirror Lake, taking advantage of the darkness. These three were the biggest of Chen Zhao's pets, other than Amorn. Even Princess was 3 times smaller than them. The three dogs' body was also very muscular. They ran as quickly as a sports car. Chen Zhao planned on introducing Farley to the three dogs because he didn't want them to be stuck in the tiny space crack like before. It was like how a lion shouldn't be locked in a cage for people to gawk at. Dogs were naturally energetic and wanted people to accompany and play with them. They looked like monsters, but they were still dogs deep down. Farley, we're almost at Mirror Lake. You can come out to wait for us. Farley stood at the door. She could hear a light wind. In the distance, she saw a huge shadow galloping in the dark. There were also some eerily glowing eyes. When the three dogs came before her and the three heads looked down, she stiffened. Facing them felt different than facing Little Nine. Little Nine wasn't big, so it wasn't that shocking. Plus, there was a glass between them, so she didn't feel any danger. However, she was face to face with the three dogs. Farley stiffened like she was faced with a lion, not daring to move. Chen Zhao jumped down from their back. Little 3, Little 2, Little 1, let me make introductions. This is my girlfriend. You have to treat her like you treat me, okay? The three immediately went forward and slobbered over Farley's face. She couldn't really take their enthusiasm. But after getting over her fear, they gave her the same feeling as Black Ma and White Ma did. Chapter 399, Inviting Friends. Chapter 399, Inviting Friends. The next day, Chen Zhao and Farley went to different places. Farley went to the Coastal Rescue Team to invite her friends and colleagues. On the other hand, Chen Zhao invited his friends, David and Kate, Leonardo, Bant and his family, Ethan, Caprice, Vincent, Del and Faith, Risfar and his family, Rasfa, Zola, Daniel, Manny, Stephen, Wright, Normans and Mr. Doman, Eve Lee, Sienna, Chris, Cheryl and Rufford. He had to invite all of them. Whether they could attend the party or not, he had to display his sincerity. Chen Zhao created a name list to see if he had missed anyone out. Wright, Dion Sloat, and his daughter Azina. Dion had helped him to get this very piece of land. After all, Dion was the mayor back then. Regardless of how the other people in the town thought about him, Chen Zhao did not have a bad impression of Dion. Ethan, I've just moved to my new house. I'll be organizing a party. Remember to come with Auntie Lee. Sure, I'll be there. Remember to bring a present. The signal is bad. What did you say? David, I've moved. I'm having a party tonight. Okay, I'll definitely go. Remember to tell Kate about it. Leonardo. Okay. Rasfa. I'm sorry, Chen, but I'm on holiday. All right. But I think Zola, Daniel, and Manny will be there. Sure. Stephen. Chen, I'm inspecting the filming locations, so I can't attend the party. I'm sorry. Don't worry. Also, remember to tell me when you start filming. Of course. Rufford. Chen, I'm in a closed-door training. Got it. Mr. Doman. Chen, I'm in the UK right now. I'll ask Normans to go. Congrats anyway. Caprice. That old asshole's going, so I won't go, but still, congratulations. Most people could attend the party. Clearly, Chen Zhao thought that the more, the merrier. Nevertheless, to those who could not come, Chen Zhao expressed his regrets and understanding. Nobody had to leave their work just for his party. Moreover, some people really could not make it to his party in time. At the moment, Chen Zhao had a name not on the list, Yafen. He was reluctant to invite her. Although they had no official relationship, there had still been some emotion between them. In the end, Chen Zhao still decided to call Yafen. Yafen, I've moved to my new house. I'm holding a party. Are you coming? Congrats, Chen, of course I'll be there. Yafen agreed. Actually, she was a very clever person. Chen Zhao had helped her a few times, so she was also willing to attend his party. Chen, I have 8 friends here. Farley called Chen Zhao. Got it. We need to prepare sufficient food. I don't want to run out of food at night. Chen Zhao gave Farley a positive reply. He indeed had to take note of this. Although they were all friends, it was a party, so it was important for everyone to feel happy and satisfied. Chen Zhao first went to buy a truck. Instead of spending time to make his choice, he bought a random small truck. Like what Farley had said, both the RV and the sports car were not suitable for shopping. The small truck cost less than $10,000, but it would be really useful. Then, Chen Zhao went shopping. However, he could not find huge beef pieces in the supermarket. When he was in Sacramento, he could easily find entire beef thighs in the supermarket. Chen Zhao thought of Rhea. Hey, Rhea. What? Are the cattle in your ranch for sale? You're going to raise cattle? No, I need beef, so I would like to purchase a cow. A slaughtered cow, of course. We do not sell them one by one, Rhea rejected directly. Wait. Are you holding a party? Yes, I've just moved. I'm expecting a large number of guests. Tell you what, I can offer you a cow, but you need to let Rena and I attend the party too. Chen Zhao was stunned. They were not even friends. In fact, there had even been conflicts between them. Why would Rena and Rhea come to his party? Of course, I'm honored to have you. All right, give me your new address. Because it was a party, Chen Zhao would not have enough time to prepare it all by himself. Hence he called David and Leonardo again and asked for their help. Soon, Rena and Rhea arrived. They even had many bodyguards behind them, some of which Chen Zhao found familiar. Those few bodyguards ignored Chen Zhao completely. To be honest, their encounter with Chen Zhao that day had left such a deep impression. Chen, are they your enemies? Fought once. Why didn't you call us? Go away, why do you want to be in everything? Chen Zhao rolled his eyes. Go and prepare the barbecue stand. Leonardo and David prepared the stand, which was used specifically to roast beef thighs. Rena and Rhea approached them. Rhea brought Chen Zhao 2 cows, which had both been slaughtered. The few bodyguards carried them down the truck. This place is so beautiful. Rena admired the scenery. Why are you still here? Didn't you go back to San Francisco? Chen Zhao said. Are you chasing me away? Why would I? Chen Zhao glanced at Rhea who was beside them. Can I play on the lake? Rena asked. Sure. There was a small wooden boat by the dock. Felwood had prepared it especially for Chen Zhao and Farley, although they had yet to use it. Do you need help from me or my men? No, you can go inside and rest. The party has yet to start, and the guests yet to arrive. Let me help you with the roasting. All right. Rena rafted on the lake alone. Suddenly, Rena saw a black thing on the surface of the lake, not far away from her. Ah! Rhea and the few bodyguards charged toward the lake at once. Rena, what's wrong? Whale. There's a killer whale here. Chen, why is there a killer whale here? Is it the same one you had? Rhea asked, worried. Chen Zhao said lightly, he won't bite people. Can killer whales enter a freshwater lake? Why are you so surprised? There are records of killer whales entering freshwater areas. Fine, are you sure he won't hurt Rena? However, when Rhea raised her head again, she realized that Rena's initial fear was nowhere to be seen. Instead, she jumped right on top of the killer whale. Chapter 400 Such a big fish. Chapter 400 Such a big fish. Just then, a white yacht cruised over. Chen Zhao looked up and saw Risfar, Laura, Del, and the three kids, Ronnie, Vil, and Faith. Daddy, look. Big fishy. A big fishy. I want to go up. The three already saw Rena on the river and Amorn floating in the water. It was Laura's first time seeing such a big killer whale. It was 3 times longer than their yacht. So big. Laura was a bit afraid. After all, this was her first time. Daddy, I wanna go. Faith wouldn't stay still either. If Del wasn't holding her, she probably would have jumped into the water. She was only 1 year old, but she was already a good swimmer. They were still far from land, so Risfar could only call Chen Zhao. Chen, Faith, Ronnie, and Vil want to play with the killer whale. Is that okay? No problem. Don't worry. Amorn is really gentle. Just then, Amorn moved. The huge body cut through the water and jumped up. Ah! On his back, Rena yelled, not in fear but excitement. When the people on the yacht saw the huge beast's full figure, they couldn't help but make sounds of surprise. Ronnie, Vil, and Faith's mouths dropped open. Their eyes sparkled. Under Chen Zhao's command, Amorn poked his head out and interacted with the people on the ship. He made dolphin noises. After messing around for a long while, the yacht finally got to land. Everyone was wet from Amorn's sprays. Just then, Black Ma and White Ma came out with a cluster of bananas for Faith, Ronnie, and Vil. Princess also came swaying into the front yard. Every now and then, she would ask for food from the people cooking. The 4 kings, Briar, Bramble, Simba, and Nolla, were playing around. They quickly caught the attention of the 3 kids. They started petting the 4 kings crazily. Chen, this is the gift I prepared just for you. Chen Zhao accepted Risfar's red wine. The packaging was very detailed and looked expensive. Thank you. Chen Zhao wouldn't reject Risfar today. Chen, my gift for you is on the boat. Come get it with me. A while later, Del and Chen Zhao rushed out, one after another. Don't run. I'm gonna kill you today. Why? Chen, why don't you like the gift? It cost me a few $100,000. A famous Italian artisan made it himself. Don't you know that you can give a Chinese person anything, but not a clock? Chen Zhao caught up to Del and tossed him into the river. But in the end, he still accepted the thoughtless gift. It wasn't evening yet, but many of the guests had already come. Mary and Bant definitely came together too. As soon as Mary arrived, she went straight to the kitchen to help. Bant gave Chen Zhao a wood carving of Chen Zhao's whole family. Chen Zhao, Farley, Walter, Black Ma, White Ma, Princess, Briar, Bramble, Beelzebub, Carrie, and Raymond were all there. Why aren't I there? Why aren't I there? Why aren't I there? Samuel stared at the carving, very upset. Okay, stop it. I'll add you in later. Is this your new home? Some women from the coastal rescue team stared at the tall house in shock. Along the way, they thought there couldn't be a nice house in such a remote place. When they arrived, they realized how laughable their thoughts had been. The house before their eyes was too beautiful. Just imagining living here made them go crazy with jealousy. Robio designed it, Farley said. It's too beautiful. They couldn't look away. Farley brought them to the living room, but they couldn't stay sitting. They looked around the entire house, checking out the inside and outside. Chen really knows how to enjoy life. He's rich. Too bad Farley got him first. Farley's so lucky. How come I didn't realize that Chen has potential? Do you see that yacht in the river? What's wrong with it? That's a limited edition designed by Azimut Bonetti. It's like a limited edition sports car. That one would cost around $5 million. All the women expressed their amazement. Just then, a roar of an engine came from the road. The women on the balcony all looked down at this noise. They saw a grey sports car zoom over. It was a limited edition Bugatti Veyron. The sleek car was filled with power. It only gave off one feeling: expensive. A young man and woman came down from the car. The girl seemed to not be of age yet. Chen, Daniel and Manny greeted Chen Zhao. Manny studied Chen Zhao's new home. Your house is pretty. Much prettier than Grandpa's house. Rasfa will be sad if he hears that, Chen Zhao teased. The truth is the truth. Grandpa's house is so ugly. Not just the outside, but the inside is ugly too. I don't get his taste. The entire house just screams tear me down. Oh, your mom didn't come? She did, but she's helping Grandpa prepare a gift for you. A while later, Zola came over with Paul. Their gift was a body tree bonsai around 1 meter tall. Chen Zhao thought that this gift was very suitable. At least, he liked it a lot. It would definitely be a shining point in the living room. Chen, congrats on your new home. Thank you. Come in and sit. Paul, you too. Thank you, Mr. Chen. More and more guests came. The atmosphere grew hotter and hotter. After welcoming Paul and Zola, 2 more cars stopped before Chen Zhao. Yafen and Lucy came one after another. Yafen had put away her usual sexiness. Her makeup was light too. Lucy also came dressed like a businesswoman. It was evident that they knew what today was and didn't plan on stealing the show. However, Chen Zhao didn't expect them to show up together. They weren't friends, right? There weren't any true friends in Hollywood either, but anyone who saw them would think that they were good friends. Chen Zhao and Farley were busy hosting the guests. In the evening, Ethan and Li Qing finally arrived. But the scene that Chen Zhao worried the most about happened. Ethan saw Robio. The father and son met. Chapter 401, It's Just a Mode. Chapter 401, It's Just a Mode. All along, Chen Zhao knew from their conversations that their relationship was really bad. In fact, Robio had a poor relationship with not just Ethan, but also Caprice. Chen Zhao had no idea why the family of 3 would view each other as enemies. Luckily, Wright arrived in time to separate Robio and Ethan. Chen Zhao was really scared that the 2 might end up in a fight, which would be a tricky situation to handle. Moreover, if they did, Chen Zhao would not know who to help. Right, you look amazing today. Haha, you're still so sweet. Chen Zhao helped Wright get into the house and introduced her to Farley. Farley just realized that the elder before her was the principal of ULCA and also For's teacher. Nonetheless, Wright did not stay for long. She did not enjoy the noisy party atmosphere, after all. She visited the house and praised Robio's design, after which she left by herself. The party was still in full swing, but Chen Zhao realized that Leonardo was busy asking for numbers, again. Leonardo, come here. Chen, what's up? How's your partner Rose? How are the 2 of you? I don't want to talk about her. What happened? While Chen Zhao had only met Rose once, he felt that Rose should be into Leonardo. However, they apparently did not have a good time. Can you tell me what happened? I don't want to talk about it. Fine. Chen Zhao shrugged. He could not help Leonardo if Leonardo would not tell him the situation. Anyway, you don't chase girls like this. Firstly, you can't just go around and ask for their numbers. Then what should I do? First, you cannot let her feel uncomfortable. So what do I do? Leonardo asked patiently. Tell me, what did you say to them? May I have your number, please? Leonardo answered. And that's all. Chen Zhao rubbed his forehead. First of all, you shouldn't pick someone who has friends around, whether her friends are guys or girls. Why? If there are a few girls together, don't I get a better chance? Of course you get a better chance. If you're charming enough, you might hook all of them, but if you can't even get one of them, do you think it'll work? Also, women have chain reactions. If one of them likes you, then the others will also like you. If one hates you, then the rest will hate you as well. If any of them thinks that you're too low, then, in order to maintain consistency in their style, they'll all reject you. Do you understand? Alright, so what should I do? Leonardo was a good student because was eager to learn. But no teacher would want to teach him. Do you see the girl who's drinking alone beside the bar counter? Her name's Bradley's, Farley's colleague. She doesn't really mix with the other girls. Leonardo nodded. Yes, she looks pretty. That's not the important thing. Listen to me. Okay. Hi, are you alone? Chen Zhao said. She will look at you and then nod. And then? It's really noisy here. Do you want to go outside instead? There are many people outside too, Leonardo said. Go to the waterfall. Nobody's there. Isn't it even noisier there? What an idiot, it's noise from the people, not the environment. Also, throw away the can of beer. Go to the counter and take a bottle of red wine. Chen Zhao patted Leonardo's shoulder. Leonardo mustered his courage and walked toward the girl named Bradley's. David approached Chen Zhao. Chen, are you teaching Leonardo how to hook up with a girl? Chen Zhao and David touched their cans of beer. I'm just worried that he'll chase all the girls in the party away. If that happens, there will be no girls in my parties ever again. Do you think he will succeed? That girl probably just broke up with someone. If someone can walk into her heart now, she'll accept him quickly. Chen Zhao glanced at David. How about you? How are you and Kate? Not bad, although we're both very busy with work. Yeah, a cop and a reporter. Chen Zhao did not think that their relationship could last for long. Although Kate really admired David, it was only because of the distance between them. Should they live together, the mystery and fun would all disappear. Furthermore, both David and Kate were very independent. This is what happens in romantic relationships. When both parties are too dominant, cracks will start to form. On the other hand, if one party is stronger than the other, the relationship would be more stable. For example, Laurent had always been the weak one and Winnip was more dominant in their family. Of course, as one of his principles, Chen Zhao would not interfere with another person's relationships, even if the person was his good friend. No matter how close he and David were, he was but an outsider in David's romantic relationship. Chen Zhao had neither the right nor the reason to interfere. Even though David claimed that the relationship was quite stable, Kate did not come to the party, which could be a sign. Chen Zhao had only been in love twice, once in college and now with Farley, but he knew quite a lot about relationships. The reality was not a movie or drama. You've had quite a lot of alcohol tonight. I think it's better for you to stay here overnight, Chen Zhao suggested. Will that be convenient for you? The thing is, I need someone to help me clean the place up. Can I say no? No, Chen Zhao said, smiling. Just then, Sienna approached the two of them. Chen, come here. What's happening? Why are you acting so suspiciously? David asked curiously. What's in the basement? What? Did she see Hellhound? Or perhaps Little Nine? The skeleton. Sienna stared at Chen Zhao with a serious face. The skeleton? It's a craft that I've hired someone to make. It's not real. Chen Zhao found an excuse. You can't trick me. The skeleton's real. Chen, what skeleton? Did you kill someone and hide their skeleton here? David was shocked. What are you thinking? Chen Zhao rolled his eyes and looked at Sienna. How do you know that it's real? Chapter 402, Most Dangerous Wizard. Chapter 402, Most Dangerous Wizard. The aura on it is too obvious, Sienna said. It's a magical aura. I'm sure that it was very strong before death. Is it your prey? Chen, take me to see it. I want to see what prey it is. David instantly grew excited. Chen Zhao didn't reject them. After all, David had seen supernatural powers with them before. He counted as a member of their circle. Chen Zhao brought Sienna and David to the basement. David instantly saw the huge skeleton that circled the wall. So big. What was it when it was alive? It doesn't have a name. It's just a monster. You could actually kill something so strong. Even though only the bones remain, I can still feel that it contains strong magic power. Can you give me a bone? I'm keeping it here to look pretty. If you take away a bone, my collection will be ruined. It's too wasteful for you to put it here. What are you going to use it for? To make a magical potion, obviously. Magical potion? Chen Zhao thought for a moment. He was getting more and more reliant on magic when treating some difficult patients. Every time he finished, he would be mentally and physically exhausted. If he could improve his magical abilities, it would be a great help to his career. I can't give you this, but I can get you some other bones, Chen Zhao said. I'll help you get some later, but you have to share the magic potion with me. Sure. Oh, Chen, you're here? Just then, Normans and Eve Lee walked down the spiral staircase. They saw Chen Zhao and his two friends. What's this? It looks so realistic. Is it a dinosaur model? Eve Lee asked curiously. Normans touched a bone. It feels special too. No, a Hollywood prop master made it. I see weird creatures in movies all the time, so I paid a prop team to make this for me. It feels so special, Eve Lee said. It's different from bones. Of course, Chen Zhao said. After all, it wasn't cheap. Putting a model like this in a dark basement. You're seriously creepy. Sienna pretended to shiver. Let's go up. Chen Zhao shrugged. Let's go. There's nothing to look here. Let's go up. Everyone in the front yard was having fun. Del was bragging about his past, something about skydiving, deep-sea diving, or what mountains he'd climbed. Uncle Chen, I want to see your magic tricks, Faith said, tugging Chen Zhao's pants. Chen, I want to see your magic too, Risva said. How about you do a trick? Chen Zhao snapped his fingers and turned his hand. A coin was between his fingers. He turned his hand again and the coin disappeared. I can see these tricks on TV every day, Risva teased. Do something harder. Chen Zhao chuckled. He put his hands together. Then coins of various sizes kept slipping out of the cracks. Pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters fell out endlessly. Soon, the ground was covered in coins. Everyone was amazed at this. Chen Zhao wore short sleeves, so he couldn't hide so many coins in his hands. Chen Zhao piled the coins together. Then he wiped his hands over the pile and the coins all disappeared. Sienna looked at him in confusion. Was this a magic trick or spell? If it was a spell, how come she couldn't feel anything? Uncle, can you do something bigger? Chen Zhao separated his hands slowly. A bottle of wine appeared between his palms. But then he put his hands together and the wine disappeared. Okay, please clap now. Everyone started clapping and cheering. Chen Zhao finally took out the bottle of wine happily. Chen, where did you hide this wine? Del asked curiously. How come I couldn't see it at all? Magic is magic. I can't tell you. If you want to know, then go think of the answer yourself. Chen Zhao chuckled. Just then, the phone rang. The performance is over. Keep having fun. He went somewhere without people and answered the call. It was from Pierce South. Pierce, please let me maintain the last bit of a good impression I have of you. That diary is already burned. I didn't know how important it was until you told me the true background of the diary. Fine. Chen, I hope you can think about it carefully. We can share the Sun King Gold Cup, because everyone can only take the effect of one mouthful. Working together is good for everyone. Pierce, you're not welcome here. Please leave. Chen Zhao finally tried driving him away. He hated how Pierce South kept clinging to him. That diary belonged to him. He could share it if he wanted to. If he didn't want to, no one could force him to do so. Pierce South and Jaisha could only turn and leave. In the darkness, Pierce asked, "How is it? Did you get a result?" He lied, Jaisha said. "That diary is still here. Are you sure?" "Of course." Jaisha pulled a python out. It had a pentagon on its head. "My baby tells me that the Chinese man is lying." Pierce's face darkened. "So that guy wants to take it for himself?" "It seems to be the case." "What solution do you have?" "Since he's unwilling to cooperate, I'll have to make him feel pain," Jaisha said confidently. "I'll make him come beg me. That Chinese man is really strong. He's not a typical wizard. You best be careful. I won't go face to face. Only barbarians do that." An eerie smile appeared on Jaisha's face. Hiss, hiss. Terrifying noises came from Jaisha's sleeve. Pierce glanced at him. This was why he'd asked Jaisha to come. Jaisha was a wizard like him, but he was the most dangerous wizard of all. Chapter 403 Snakes. Chapter 403 Snakes. "Rinse these. David, throw these into the bin." All the guests except David and Leonardo had left. As Chen Zhao cleaned the place up, he asked, "Leonardo, can you tell me why you failed again?" I was holding her hand, sitting by the waterfall. Both David and Chen Zhao stopped what they had been doing. In their opinion, if a woman was willing to follow a man to a waterfall when it was dark and quiet, something ought to happen. And then for some reason, she kept staring at me. And then, I asked her if she was tired. "A bit," she said. And then, I said, "If you're tired, you can go and rest." "I'll continue to sit here," Leonardo said with a long face. Chen Zhao and David dashed toward Leonardo and showered him with their fists. "Stop, why are you punching me?" Just then, Farley, who had been in the living room, also walked out. She gloated, "She hoped that she could sleep with you in the guest room. But I wasn't tired. That's why they're hitting you." Suddenly, Leonardo slapped his forehead. "Oh, I get it. Ah, I missed such a good opportunity. It's too late, unfortunately. Oh, there's a snake here." David suddenly used a pole to pick a snake up. "Is it Raymond's relative?" "No, throw it into the lake." Chen Zhao shook his hand. I think it's a saw-scaled viper," Leonardo said. "What about it? Do you recognize the snake?" "Recently, 2 people in our police area have died to this venomous species," Leonardo said. "You should be careful. Try not to go out at night, especially the wild," David said. "Chen, you and Farley should be very careful. Your house is kind of in the wild." "No, the 2 victims died in their homes." "Did the snakes climb into their homes?" Saw-scaled vipers are only found in Asian tropical regions, mainly India, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, and they're most abundant in the Indian subcontinent. "They are venomous and very aggressive," Leonardo said. "You mean, there shouldn't be any of them in America?" "Yes. Also, you should have killed the snake instead of throwing it away. It'll be really troublesome if there's a species invasion, and people might get hurt, given how aggressive they are." Chen Zhao squinted. Coincidence. He hoped that it was just a coincidence. My snake died. Some coldness flashed across Jaisha's eyes. "Seems like I've still underestimated him, but he won't be so lucky again." When Pierce South saw Jaisha release about a dozen venomous snakes onto the ground, he frowned. "With so many snakes, you'll kill him. If he dies, how should we find the nautical dairy? It doesn't matter whether he's dead or not. We can go into his house and search for the dairy ourselves." Fine. Pierce found the plan sensible. Anyway, he was not going to be the murderer, so he was not worried at all. After showering, David and Leonardo went to sleep. Chen Zhao cast Banshee's charm on them to give them a better rest. On the other hand, Chen Zhao and Farley sat by the lake with their feet in the water. It was a rare period of peacefulness. Just then, a few heads surfaced from the lake. Little Nine could finally bring its heads out of the water. Immediately, Hellhound did the same. They had such a boring time in basement 2 and could not wait to breathe some fresh air. Hellhound began to run wildly in the darkness. Woof, woof. Suddenly, Hellhound started to bark loudly at some grass. Huh? Did they see something? Farley asked. Chen Zhao could hear the violence in Hellbound's barking. Then, he saw Hellhound slap the ground with their paw, and something was thrown toward him. It's a poisonous snake. It was a deadly many-banded kite. However, the many-banded kite was only found in Asia, mainly Central and Southern China and Southeast Asia. Why would there be a many-banded kite here? Swish. Suddenly, one of Little Nine's heads seized the snake that had just been killed by Hellhound and swallowed it. Unlike normal snakes that would swallow their prey whole, Little Nine would chew its food. Chen Zhao's face darkened. He could confirm that someone was causing all this. The most suspicious person was the Indian named Jasha. Given that he was a friend of Pierce, he was very likely a wizard too. Chen Zhao would not be surprised if he had been controlling all the snakes. Nevertheless, the ability was really impossible to guard. Farley, you should go in first. I think there might be quite a lot of venomous snakes around. I'll ask them to clean all the snakes up before they start to affect our quality of life. Sure, be careful, Farley nodded. After Farley went into the house, Chen Zhao's face darkened and he summoned Raymond, Beelzebub, Carrie, Walter, the silly twins, and Princess. Carrie was instructed to protect Farley, while Beelzebub and Raymond were asked to watch David and Leonardo. Chen Zhao was unsure if any snakes had already entered the house, so he had to be careful. At this hour, it was clearly impossible for Chen Zhao to search for all the snakes by himself. Walter, the silly twins, and Princess all had very high resistances against poison, so they would not die even if they were bitten. Go and find every single snake around here. Just then, Blackie floated toward him. That's too much work. Let me point them to you. Chen Zhao slapped his forehead. Blackie could see souls, including those of snakes. Even in the darkness, Blackie could still pinpoint the snake's souls. Blackie, check if any snakes have entered the house. I already did that. There was none. With Blackie's promise, Chen Zhao could finally heave a sigh of relief. Shit. All my babies are dead. Fuck, fuck, fuck. How dare he? How dare he hurt my babies like this? Jasha roared madly. Jasha, is that all you have? Pierce South was very unhappy. The two of them had already been standing in the darkness for a few hours, with mosquitoes everywhere. Pierce would not have stayed with the manic wizard if not for the nautical dairy. For the entire night, Pierce had been listening to Jasha's roaring. Do you want to see my true power? Fine, I'll show it to you. Suddenly, Jasha grabbed the cobra, which struggled in discomfort. However, Jasha pulled the cobra with more and more force. Snap! The cobra was torn into two. Jasha stuffed the two pieces into his mouth and chewed them. As Pierce watched, he was utterly disgusted. Then, Jasha's stomach suddenly became bloated, after which he began to vomit. His abdomen, neck and mouth all somewhat enlarged. Soon, a large python was spat out of his mouth. Covered in some kind of viscous liquid, it looked really nasty. After vomiting the python out, Jasha became very weak. Go, eat every single person in that house. Chapter 404 Magic is indeed used for getting food. Chapter 404 Magic is indeed used for getting food. Jasha was tall and thin and he looked like he was malnourished. But even with that body, he spat out a 10-meter-long python. Of course, Pierce knew that this was Jasha's special magic. He'd heard long ago that Jasha's magic came from the snake god of India. This spell called Snake Reborn was especially evil and sinister. Apparently, this spell could turn all of the user's magic and vitality into a divine snake. This snake would listen to the user's orders and eat his enemies, then return back into the user's body. The swallowed vitality would then belong to the user. Jasha's title as the most dangerous wizard wasn't unfounded. Just in the time he spent in L.A., he already killed 2 people. The python looked terrifying. It was like a monster python from a movie. It didn't have any of the laziness that snakes usually had and slipped into the lake with a whoosh. This python was practically undefeatable on land. No creature could counter it. Even lions, tigers, and bears would flee at sight. "Hey, there's a big guy in the water," Blackie suddenly said. "Such strong vitality. Is it powerful?" Zhao couldn't see the lake, so he couldn't help worrying. "Similar to Princess," Blackie said. What level was Princess at now? It wasn't an exaggeration to say that she was the strongest creature on Earth, but now, there was a creature at the same level as her. "Amorn, drag it into the water," Zhao commanded immediately. If this thing reached land, it would probably be a difficult battle. In this case, he'd just make sure it couldn't get onto land. After getting Zhao's order, Amorn complained while acting. He'd already found the thing and sent a message to Zhao. "It's a python. Another snake." It was definitely Geisha messing around. "Just swallow it." Getting Zhao's command, Amorn opened his mouth and swallowed the python. The python may have no enemies on land, but it was facing Amorn, who was 100 times bigger than it and the Lord of the Sea. It was powerless and couldn't even struggle. Amorn took a bit. Pure life essence spurted into his mouth and he instantly grew spirited. "Wow! Such pure vitality." "What vitality?" Zhao asked in confusion. "This python probably isn't a normal creature. It may be born from magic. But creatures like this need matching vitality to support it. The stronger the vitality offered, the stronger its power and body." Then Amorn added, "Tasty." "Ah!" Geisha suddenly yelled. Blood spewed out of his mouth. "Monster, monster." Pierce South was in disbelief. What had happened? Seriously, what had happened? Why did Geisha have this reaction? Why was he yelling monster? Immediately after, Geisha's body started shriveling up. He reached out an arm that looked like a withered branch. Help me, help me." But he shriveled up faster and faster. Crack. His arm couldn't bear the weight anymore. It snapped right in front of Pierce. There wasn't a drop of blood at the breakage. Pierce stepped back in fear. He watched as Geisha quickly died. Finally, his body collapsed completely, spilling onto the ground like a pile of dirt. Pierce shuddered. He couldn't stay here. He had to leave as fast as possible. That Chinese man was more dangerous than he'd imagined. Damn it. He shouldn't have attacked directly. Now, Zhao would know it had something to do with him. Little Nine swam around Amorn, eating the leftover bits. To Little Nine, even Amorn's leftovers were enough for a full meal. Zhao sat beside the lake. His expression was still dark. He'd moved to a new home, but he ran into trouble the second day. He had to solve this problem. The new home's defense was too weak too. He had to fortify it. "Blackie, I want to add some defenses. Do you have any ideas?" "It's time to use my dead soul magic and those bones." "Yeah, I said those bones are useful, right?" "What should we do?" "Scatter the bones around Mirror Lake. Bury them underground. If there are people with bad intentions, I'll be able to know immediately. But you know I can't kill people, so I think you should learn some necromancy spells." Zhao got a bigger headache. Learning those spells wasn't a problem. The problem was that his magic was too weak now. It seemed that he had to move magic up his priority list. First, he had to find time to visit Hell. He would move some bones over from Samuel's nest. Samuel always ate those strong demons. Even the bones still contained strong magical power. Sienna could make magic potions, so he would get some from her. However, he didn't know how effective it would be. Blackie surveyed the surroundings again. After confirming that no one was there, Zhao went back to rest. He didn't have a good night's sleep though. It was all because of that Pierce South. And that Geisha. If Zhao caught them, he would definitely feed them to the dogs. He didn't know yet that his wish would never come true. After all, Geisha had already died, indirectly in his hands. Zhao spent the entire night thinking about how to strengthen the house's defenses. He didn't worry about any enemies coming inside the house, but the other never did it face to face. They always came secretly. If they had put 10 more snakes and Blackie wasn't here, it would be truly hard to defend the house. Farley especially couldn't protect herself. If she was bitten by a poisonous snake, things would get worse. Blackie's suggestion was to use dead soul magic and bury those bones. This plan was nice, but a slow remedy couldn't address the current emergency. The enemy wouldn't wait for him to improve in magic or make all the necessary preparations. Unwilling to sleep, Chen Zhao climbed out of bed and started checking the house's blueprint. Of course, the best solution was to kill Pierce South and Jaisha. They wouldn't appear obediently before Chen Zhao though. He would visit Pierce's house tomorrow. If Chen Zhao saw him, he would definitely twist Pierce's head off and use it as a soccer ball. Chapter 405, Gimme a Combo. Chapter 405, Gimme a Combo. While it was still dark, Pierce South snuck into a deep alley. The alley was filled with a stench. It had clearly been a long time since the trash containers were last cleared. The entire alley was enveloped in darkness, with sewage seeping out from the ground. Pierce quickly covered his nose. He would not be here if not for the dire situation. He walked further in and eventually stopped before a rusty iron door. Clank, clank. The iron door produced a loud noise. Then, Pierce heard a voice from inside. "Come in." Pierce South pushed the door open. The room was similarly very dim. Crash. Pierce had accidentally knocked ajar. Just then, Pierce heard another voice, which he found rather awkward. "You've broken my experiment equipment. $1,000. Pierce immediately pulled out his wallet and said, "Ms. Rupert, hi, I'm Pierce South. I think you should remember me." "Nope, Ms." Rupert answered rudely in the darkness. It was really awkward. Pierce picked himself up and continued, "Ms. Rupert, I need your help." Then, a neon light sign beside her lit up. Business scope, revenge, $2,000 plus. Extramarital affairs investigation, $10,000 plus. Stealing a specified item, $1,000 plus. Looking at the complicated business scope, Pierce South felt that he had entered the wrong place. Ms. Rupert, I would like to hire you to deal with a sorcerer." "Oh, I see, sorry." The sign dimmed and another sign lit up. Various curses, $10,000 plus. Evil spirit harassment, $10,000 plus. Nightmare harassment, $10,000 plus. Diseases, $3,000 each. Divination, $1,000 each time. Attacking a witch wizard, $100,000 each, whether successful or failed. "Ms. Rupert, can you please turn the lights on? I would like to talk to you face to face." The room was really dim, so Pierce could only roughly see a shadow. The lights are broken. Let's just speak like this. Alright, I need you to attack a wizard. He just killed Viper Jaisha from India's Snake God clan, so I need your help." "So he's very powerful?" Rupert asked. "Yes, very. Then I recommend a combo for you. Attack him plus evil spirit harassment plus nightmare harassment. Discounted price, $120,000. Where's the discount again? I won't charge you for the conversation." Pierce was already regretting his decision. Nevertheless, Rupert was the most famous witch in Los Angeles, and Pierce had no other choices. If Chen Zhao found him, he would be dead for sure. After some hesitation, Pierce said, "I want him dead. Murder is illegal. Not if you do it with magic and don't get caught. Fine, $1 million. Wait. Why is it so expensive? I'm a witch with principles. Why would I violate my own principles without a sufficient price? The combo you just said. To what extent can you injure him? That would depend on how strong he is." Pierce was dissatisfied, but there was nothing else he could do. "When would you begin?" "Depends on my mood." "No, I mean depends on whether I can find an opportunity." Chen Zhao went to town and asked around. Pierce had actually moved away a month ago. The chemical plant that he had been working in had fired him for some unknown reason. Chen Zhao was very annoyed by this, but he had nowhere to vent his anger. He had to move on. Clearly, He would not travel everywhere just to look for Pierce. Then, Chen Zhao went to the hospital. Tiger's arms had already healed. Chen Zhao first helped Tiger to be discharged from the hospital. After all, the hospital was not a good place for Tiger's eye replacement. Tiger, board my van. With an eye mask, Tiger entered Chen Zhao's RV. Chen Zhao had healed Tiger's arms in just half a month, which made Tiger much more confident in his medical skills. Nonetheless, Tiger's left eye was completely blind. Could Chen Zhao really cure his eye too? It was impossible for Tiger to become a professional boxer with just one eye, because it would reduce the field of vision greatly. Being observant and alert was the most basic requirement to becoming a boxer. Therefore, Tiger was still lost about his fate and future. What do I do now? Tiger was quite familiar with Chen Zhao's pets, so he was not surprised when he saw them in the RV. Lie there. Following Chen Zhao's instruction, Tiger lay on the bed. Then, you'll sleep. Chen Zhao snapped his fingers and Tiger lost consciousness. Chen Zhao took out a pristine eyeball. Replacing Tiger's eye was an easy task for him since the pristine eyeball would complete everything by itself. Although the process looked somewhat like parasitism in those horror movies, it was a very normal thing in hell. Chen Zhao drove the van to Ukla, during which Tiger had an amazing sleep. He felt that it had been a long time since he had such a good rest. In the last period of time, his damaged eyeball had been continuously causing pain, disrupting his sleep. Slap. Wake up. Tiger felt that someone was slapping his face. He waved his hand. Go away. Wake up. Go away before I beat you up. Swish. The next instant, Tiger was lifted into the air. Tiger opened his eyes and realized that he was being held by Chen Zhao. You want to beat me up? Huh? No. Tiger almost cried for his carelessness. I was dreaming. That's better. Chen Zhao put Tiger back onto the floor. Lucky. Tiger patted his chest, but he felt that something was wrong. He closed his left eye, and then switched to the other eye. I can see with my left eye. No way. Is this an illusion or a dream? Mr. Chen, my eye? Forget the past. If anyone asks you about it, say that your eye was just injured, not blind, Chen Zhao said. Do you understand? Mr. Chen, what happened to my eye? Why do you have so many questions? Do you want me to dig your eye out and then put it back again? No. I won't ask anymore. Tiger feared Chen Zhao even more, but he also found Chen Zhao mysterious. Let's go to the boxing club and practice. Every day, I'll be spending 2 hours on your rehab training, until I think that you can stand in the ring again. Chapter 406, Tiger's Recovery Training. Chapter 406, Tiger's Recovery Training. When the boxing club saw Tiger return, they were all very happy. Everyone crowded around to greet Tiger. But when Chen Zhao came in, all the laughter died down. They all greeted Chen Zhao meekly. It felt like he was some villain in a movie. Move aside now, Chen Zhao said. Tiger just got discharged. I need to do some recovery training for him. The crowd dispersed and the two put on the gear with practiced ease. Both the boxing gloves and helmet were for protecting both sides. Punching with bare fists could easily disable or even kill someone. In the next few days, you need to practice taking hits. You and Zanla Douglas don't have true differences in fitness, but when you're in the ring, your ability to take hits is far weaker than his. In the following days, you'll need to face even crueler practice. Instead of you calling stop, I'll only stop when I think I should. Okay, I understand, Mr. Chen. Alright, let's start. Going through Chen Zhao's training again, Tiger could feel clearly that Chen Zhao's power was stronger than before. He knew that Chen Zhao hadn't used his true power when he trained before. Tiger didn't realize just how different their levels were until Chen Zhao broke Zanla's 2 arms with 1 punch to take revenge. Before that, Tiger always thought that Chen Zhao was one of the better professional boxers, but he didn't think that Chen Zhao could compare with the true top figures. He didn't realize the truth until Zanla lay on the ground by Chen Zhao's feet. If Chen Zhao participated in a professional boxing competition, he would definitely be like a demon. He still didn't use much strength. After all, Tiger's arms had just gotten better. They hadn't healed completely yet. Chen Zhao's attacks were still a bit conservative. After 10 stormy minutes, Chen Zhao finally freed Tiger, letting him catch a breath. Clap, clap. Chen Zhao and Tiger turned around to see Wright clapping outside the ring. Miss Wright. Tiger was one of the better students in school. Even his grades were quite well. Of course, that was only on the surface. Privately, Tiger would also take jobs to bully people. For example, the last time he got into a conflict with Chen Zhao had been because he was hired to do so. This was how he made money. After all, Tiger's family wasn't wealthy and boxing wasn't only his dream. It was a way to get rich. Chen, you don't focus on your job. Wright looked at him with dissatisfaction. You're a professor of the medical school. How am I not focusing on my job? This counts as teaching, right? Chen Zhao turned to Tiger. Am I right, Tiger? Tiger grinned but didn't reply. Are you free this afternoon? I arranged a public lecture for you. You said you already arranged it. Can I say no? Then it's set. A smile finally appeared on Wright's face. Oh, I heard that in the few days you were in Sacramento, you revived someone who was shot in the head. You can't say I revived him. I saved him. He's pretty lucky. If he was shot by a large caliber gun, probably even I would be powerless. Tiger glanced at Chen Zhao, thinking he was even more amazing now. He also felt fortunate that he had voluntarily resolved their conflict back then. He only got this opportunity because he hadn't continued viewing Chen Zhao as the enemy. Miss Wright, wait, a man in his 30s chased after her. Jared, can I help you? Wright turned around and asked. Miss Wright, can you explain why my public lecture was replaced? I don't think I did anything wrong. Jared stared at her furiously. Why? Wright thought for a moment and looked at Jared. I don't want to get overly involved with your private life, but please put your eyes on someone other than students. I don't want to have 2 girls walk into my office while I'm working and report you for your relationships. Plus, you've missed at least 5 classes in the past month. In that case, I'll give you fewer classes so you can take care of your love life. Plus, since I have a better choice, why don't I choose that? I'm already being merciful by not firing you. I hope you understand your situation. Jared's expression was livid. There's someone better than me in neurosurgery? Of course, Wright replied matter-of-factly. Does someone like that exist at UCLA? Chapter 407, Getting Helpers. Chapter 407, Getting Helpers. Jared, what's up? Ance Ronan asked. Mr. Ronan, my lecture has been taken by someone else. The principal said that I'll be replaced by someone better, Jared complained. Ance frowned. What's wrong with that? It only means that you're not good enough. I've checked the person who's going to replace me for the public class. I've never heard of him before. He's only given 1 lecture, as a substitute, and is not even a professor in neurosurgery. How can I accept that? You mean someone from another specialty is going to give your lecture in neurosurgery? Ant's face darkened. While Jared was not the best neurosurgeon he had seen, indeed not even as good as himself, he believed that nobody in another specialty could do better than Jared. Exactly. I suspect that there might be some shady deals. So what do you want me to do? I hope that you can expose him during the lecture. At least we can let the college realize that we're specialized for a reason, and no outsider can replace me. When is the public class? In the afternoon. All right, I'll be free in the afternoon. I'll be there. Jared's face was filled with delight. With Ance Ronan as his backing, he was confident that he would be able to destroy the substitute. If the substitute was questioned by a neurosurgery authority in public, he would definitely be too embarrassed to stay. If Jared was a neurosurgery expert, then Ance Ronan was definitely an authority. In all of California, or even America, Ance Ronan was one of the best neurosurgeons, not to mention LA. Sir. Just then, Jared heard someone call him. He turned around and saw a stranger. The stranger had thin hair and was in his 50s, but his clothes looked decent. Why does he look so familiar? Hi, how may I help you? Jared asked. May I know how to get to the principal's office? The more Jared looked at the man, the more he found the man familiar. Why are you looking for the principal? Oh, I've been asked to be UCLA's external lecturer. I'm reporting today. Are you Mr. Hernandez? Jared finally recognized the person before him. As a neurosurgery authority, Hernandez, nicknamed Surgical Knife, had a near-perfect personal record. He had outstanding performances in many super difficult surgeries. With more than 30 years of experience, he was even more senior than Ance Ronan. He would not reject most surgeries, unlike other doctors who would shun difficult operations to increase their surgery success rate. Oh, do you know me? Hernandez was somewhat surprised. We've met during the California Medical Conference a year ago. Do you remember me? Sorry, I have a really poor memory, Hernandez answered, smiling. Suddenly Jared realized something. Wait. Is he the person who's going to replace me? I'll be in big trouble in this case. This caused Jared to be somewhat anxious. Mr. Hernandez, which department will you be joining? I'm specialized in neurosurgery, Hernandez replied. Jared's heart skipped a beat. If Hernandez was really the person who was going to replace him, he would have to ask Ance Ronan to not come in the afternoon. Otherwise, it would really be awkward. Hernandez was not ordinary and everyone knew how good he was. Going to his class and looking for trouble would only end up badly for Jared. But I'm not a full professor, only an external lecturer. Huh? Jared was stunned, but he realized that there was still hope. Mr. Hernandez, given your professionalism, I don't think any school would reject you as a professor, right? No, I'm far from being good enough. I heard that UCLA has many excellent professors in neurosurgery. Apart from giving lectures, I'm also here to exchange and learn, Hernandez said. Hearing that, Jared heaved a sigh of relief. It was probably not Hernandez, who was an ordinary lecturer and would only give professional talks. Usually, public classes were given by at least associate professors, or successful people invited by the college. No matter how expert Hernandez was, as long as he was not an associate or full professor, he would not be able to give a public class. Mr. Hernandez, I'm Jared, also a neurosurgery professor, but I'm clearly no expert before you. Mr. Jared, I'm sure we'll have many chances in the future to interact. By the way, I think you should note that not every professor in the college deserves the title. This afternoon, someone from another specialty is actually going to give a neurosurgery public lecture. Oh, another specialty? Yes, a professor who's only given one lecture before is giving a public class. Is it? In my opinion, neurosurgery is a profound and demanding subject. I do not want my students to be misled by an outsider, so I'll go and expose him during the lecture, Jared said. Mr. Hernandez, it'll be great if you're there to help me. Sure, but I need to see if that person is a professional or not, Hernandez said. Yes, of course. I really need to go to the principal's office for the administrative stuff now. Of course. The office is in that building, 4th floor, turn left, 2nd room. There's a sign on the door. Right. See you, Mr. Jared. Jared walked 2 steps and saw a bug guy walking toward his direction. He called, Tiger, you're finally discharged. Yes, Mr. Jared. Tiger also greeted Jared. Tiger, do you want to earn some pocket money? I'm afraid I don't do those anymore. Sorry. Tiger shook his head. Since he was beaten up by Chen Zhao last time, he had stopped accepting dirty work. It was bad for his reputation, and he was also scared that he would meet someone like Chen Zhao again. Furthermore, if Chen Zhao found out about it, he would be enraged. I'm not asking you to beat someone up. Oh. Is it not? An outsider has snatched my public class from me. I need you to question him during the lecture. $1,000. Tiger was tempted by the easy task, especially when he was in need of money. So I don't have to hit anyone, right? Yes, you only need to question him. Also, find a few people from the boxing club. I'll be great if they can question the speaker with you. That will cost extra. Sure. Chapter 408, Tiger's Doomsday. Chapter 408, Tiger's Doomsday. After lunch, Tiger returned to the boxing club. There were some new members. The coach of the club led the new students to Tiger. You all should get to know Tiger. He's a junior this year, but he's the best of the club. He already has a professional certificate. Hearing that, the students immediately all had reverent expressions. Hi, Tiger. Tiger, have you participated in professional competitions before? Tiger, do you have time to teach us? Okay, stop disturbing Tiger. You haven't even learned the basics yet, so stop clinging to Tiger. If you want to train with him, you might get creamed with one punch. Start with the basics. Dion, wait, Tiger called to the coach. I have a job and need some guys. I thought you stopped taking jobs. It's not beating people up. I don't do that anymore. If Mr. Chen finds out, I'll probably be in the hospital again. It's not beating people up. Yeah, it's to help Mr. Jared. Tiger explained everything. I see. You kids, who wants to help Tiger? I can do it. Me too. I'm free in the afternoon. The newbies were really happy to help Tiger. They just entered college and were filled with excitement about college life. How could they miss this drama? Okay, then I'll take you guys. Miss, I want that, and that. The cafeteria lady looked at Chen Zhao like he was a monster. Sir, this is your third time getting food. It's not like I don't pay. Chen Zhao rarely got to eat cafeteria food. It wasn't very good, but it was at least cheaper and had pretty big servings. He would naturally eat his fill. Fine, but you should know our rules. You'll get fined if you have leftovers. Of course. I understand. Chen Zhao carried away the tray filled with food. As soon as he sat down, Eve Lee sat across from him. Hi, Chen. Hi, Eve Lee. What's up? Chen, I feel like I haven't been improving recently. My time is always around 8 minutes. Do you have any suggestions? No. How can you be so irresponsible? What am I responsible for? I'm gonna scream harassment, Eve Lee said, pouting while glaring at Chen Zhao. Then you better find a place with no cameras. There's a camera here. You have no sense of humor. But speaking of, do you really plan on becoming a professional athlete? Don't you know? I was chosen as an Olympic athlete. I'll debut at the World Championships this year. Oh. That's how you'll reply to me. Eve Lee stared at Chen Zhao. What do you want? Come back and be my coach. My family hired someone who calls himself the champion coach. Apparently, he was Phelps' coach before, but after I followed his methods, I was 10 seconds slower. After I changed back to the method you taught me, I went back to my original speed. Eve Lee understood fully now that Chen Zhao was the best coach. The other coaches couldn't even compare to him. Even though Chen Zhao was always distracted while he trained, but the effects on Eve Lee were obvious. In 10 days, her fitness and speed had all improved substantially. This was why she kept going to Chen Zhao, hoping he could change his mind. I have to train Tiger. I don't have time to train you. Didn't you say that you hope I can break the men's world record? You really want to break the men's world record? I know it's really hard, but I really want to try. I want to be the first female athlete to break a men's world record. But you can't go compete against men, right? I don't have to. I'll break the record in my own meet. As long as I do it fair and square, what can people say about me? I need to think about it, Chen Zhao said. When can you give me an answer? When are the World Championships? It starts this August. There's still half a year. Take it slowly, don't worry. It's less than half a year, Eve Lee corrected. Wait for Tiger's progress. I can't be a boxing and swimming coach at the same time. How long does he need? I don't know. Depends. Give me an exact time. This way, I can fire the coach at a more accurate time. Hearing Evlia's words, Chen Zhao felt really bad. I'll go look at your training results when I have time. How about that? Do you have time today? No, I have a public lecture today. You have a public lecture? Which room? Lecture hall number 3, Chen Zhao said. Then he suddenly reached over and squeezed Evlia's arm. Hey, what are you doing? She was both embarrassed and annoyed. Your body fat ratio increased. Go back and eat vegetarian for 2 days. Evlie glared at Chen Zhao. She knew that this asshole was flippant, but he did have some skills. He'd just squeezed her arm and discovered that her body fat had increased. She'd done a checkup yesterday. Her fat content was 2% higher than during the competition. She indeed hadn't paid much attention to her diet. She'd have to start that again. However, her face darkened when she saw the food on Chen Zhao's plate. Why don't you pay attention to your diet? Aren't you afraid of getting fat by binging like this? Please don't think like that before I get fat. I have a high metabolism and I don't exercise any less than you. Chen Zhao shoveled the food into his mouth. After cleaning up, he said, I have to go prepare the material for this afternoon's lecture now. It took him more than an hour to prepare the material. After getting ready, he checked the time. He had to go to the lecture hall now. When he arrived, he saw that there were quite a lot of students. The commotion quieted down instantly when he walked in. Chen Zhao scanned the room. He seemed to see some familiar guys from the boxing club. Maybe they'd come to support him after hearing that he was lecturing. But Tiger, sitting in the back, paled the instant he saw Chen Zhao. There was only one thought in his mind. Shit. I'm dead. He happily approached Ants and announced loudly, Let me introduce you to Ants Ronan, the Dean of Chantilly Hospital's Neurosurgery Department. He has published 6 academic papers, one of which is in our college's official textbook. The other 5 have appeared in Medical Weekly and been awarded with the California Outstanding Medical Contribution Award. I believe he can be called an authority. Mr. Chen, he should be able to question you, right? The students burst into excitement. Most of them were medical students and some had subscribed to Medical Weekly. It was already difficult enough for a paper to enter Medical Weekly. More unbelievably, Ants Ronan's paper had been selected to be part of the official syllabus. Nobody could achieve this apart from top experts. Tiger and the others began to panic. They did not expect Jared to invite a real authority just for Chen Zhao. The other students also noticed the unusual atmosphere. Jared and Ants Ronan were obviously here to look for trouble. It all depended on how the speaker would react. He might just be defeated by the pair and lose all his reputation. Ants Ronan stood still, his face filled with hesitation. Ronan, how come you're here? Just then, another person walked in. Nandes, you're here too? Ants Ronan looked at Hill Nandes in surprise. When Jared saw Hill Nandes, his face shone brightly. Mr. Hill Nandes, here you are. Ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce you to Hill Nandes, aka Surgical Knife, who specializes in high-difficulty neurosurgery. He has the top-tier specialist certificate recognized by the International Medical Institution. The students were wowed again. Nobody expected Jared to be so brutal and invite 2 neurosurgery authorities at once. Perhaps many students had never heard of the name Hill Nandes, but everyone was familiar with the nickname of Surgical Knife, because his surgical videos were used to teach them. Many of his classic surgeries were models in the medical community and had been studied by students over and over again. Chapter 410, His Not Authority Before Me. Chapter 410, His Not Authority Before Me. Mr. Chen, do these 2 authoritative figures have the right to question you? Jared turned toward Chen Zhao. Chen Zhao glanced at Hernandez and Ance Ronan. You two are here to question me? Ance Ronan immediately shook his head. No, I heard that you're having a public lecture, so I came just to listen. I'm not qualified to call myself an authoritative figure before you. I'm here to learn. Everyone was shocked at this. Jared froze. Mr. Ronan, you. What? What's wrong? Ance hated Jared now. You can go against anyone you want. Why did you choose him? The students present couldn't believe this. Whether Ance was authoritative went without question. But he was actually this humble before Chen Zhao. Could it be that this Mr. Chen was truly that skilled in the medical field? Seeing that Ance Ronan couldn't be useful, Jared glanced at Hernandez. Now, he could only put his hope on Hill. Mr. Hernandez, do you agree that his traditional Chinese medicine can be used for neurosurgery? I'm not familiar with traditional Chinese medicine, but since Mr. Chen says so, then I believe it's possible. I've stepped down from my position and came to Ukla in hopes of becoming Mr. Chen's aide. The room went crazy again. Everyone was stunned. This Hernandez was a magical doctor known as the surgical knife. He was actually willing to be Chen Zhao's aide. Weren't they here to question this Chinese man? Even Jared was utterly stunned. What was going on? What exactly was going on? Didn't they agree on this? How come they all changed their minds after seeing this Chinese man? Mr. Chen, you won't mind us listening, right? Just don't interrupt me when I lecture. I'll follow the rules, Ance said. If I sit here, then I'm a student. Ance Ronan and Hernandez took their seats. Only Jared was still standing there. He didn't know what to do. Sir, please leave my lecture. Right now, this moment. I'm not going. This belongs to me. Jared couldn't accept this result. He kind of lost all reason. Just then, the guys of the boxing club finally stood up. Mr. Chen, I'll take him out, Tiger said. I won't let him make a scene here. With that, Tiger's group dragged Jared out, not caring if he was willing or not. Someone even covered his mouth so he wouldn't spout nonsense. When they dragged him out of the classroom, they tossed him onto the ground. Tiger, why did you betray me? Didn't we agree on this? Don't you know who Mr. Chen is to me? Tiger stared coldly at Jared. You know him? He healed my arms and now he's my coach. You want me to mess with Mr. Chen? Tiger stared at Jared with clenched teeth. He's your boxing coach. Jared yelled. With that body, even I can defeat him. The boxing club guys all laughed. They'd thought that before too. But after that time, none of them had that idea anymore. Then you can try challenging Mr. Chen, but you better get yourself steel armor first. Okay, this is all I have to say today. Any questions? Mr. Chen, I know that you recently performed heart surgery on a patient determined dead by extremely accurate medical equipment. Can you tell me how you determined that he's still alive? The classroom was in uproar again. A patient was determined dead by equipment, but this man actually got the opposite result and revived the man. In traditional Chinese medicine, the process of diagnosing is actually similar to Western medicine. Of course, that patient couldn't reply to me at that time, but I could sense it from touch. Of course, not everyone can do that. I'm a bit special in this matter. I'm more sensitive, so I could feel that the patient wasn't actually dead. So how could you do something that 4 doctors couldn't do? Ance Ronan asked. Hernandez was also skilled in surgery. He obviously knew how complex heart surgery was. One person doing an entire surgery was like a person constructing a building alone. It's actually not as hard as you thought. Even though the 4 doctors failed in the end, but their processes weren't completely useless. I just took after their work and fixed the mistakes. Also, this question is unrelated to today's topic. Mr. Chen, I have a question, Hernandez said, raising his hand. Sir, do you still remember me? Yes, but can you not call me sir? Mr. Chen, not too long ago, you accepted an injured man that I thought had no hope left. He was shot in the head from a short distance and large amounts of shrapnel remained in his brain. What did you do to get rid of them? And what did you do in response to the internal bleeding? I'm afraid I can't tell you now. Why? It's too complicated, Chen Zhao said. There's too much content about traditional Chinese medicine, but I've only given one lecture. Your knowledge is too shallow now. I'm unable to explain the complexity of the surgery. Yes, I'm too hurried, Hill said, nodding. Mr. Chen, did you use traditional Chinese medicine to awaken the person in the vegetative state before? No, it was actually a combination of traditional and modern medicine. Pure Chinese medicine couldn't awaken them. The difference between you and I is that I'm familiar with traditional Chinese medicine, so I have an additional choice when treating patients. That's why I can cure some seemingly impossible diseases or conditions. At that moment, all the students there realized that this professor from China had very advanced medical knowledge. At least, he could make the two experts surrender to him. The students who hadn't paid much attention to the lecture were now all asking the people around them or borrowing notes. Mr. Chen, when is your next lecture? Hill asked. Depends on my mood. He really did have a unique personality. Probably no other professor at UCLA dared to reply like that. Okay, that's all for today. Class over. Before Chen Zhao could leave the classroom, he suddenly saw Jared run in. He raised a baseball bat and went for Chen Zhao. It's you. You took everything from me. Die. Jared's bat was already coming down on Chen Zhao. Watch out. Chapter 411, What the Hell is a Nest of Curses? Chapter 411, What the Hell is a Nest of Curses? Just when everyone was worried about Chen Zhao, he punched. Crack. Ah. The baseball bat broke into two as Jared flew backward. Someone, call the ambulance. Then, Chen Zhao turned around and left. Wow. Handsome. I'm wet. Evely caught up with Chen Zhao and tapped his shoulder. Chen, nice one. Did you run to me just to tell me that? What else do you want me to say? Nothing, bye. Chen Zhao stretched. Then, he found Right and took back all his pets. Because of the class earlier, he had left his pets with Right. In her overexcitement, she rode Princess around to scare people again. Chen Zhao thought that Right would eventually be impeached by the college board if she kept behaving like this. With his various pets, Chen Zhao left the staff building. Suddenly, a ball rolled toward him and stopped beside his feet. A little girl trotted toward him. Uncle, could you please pick up the ball for me? Smiling, Chen Zhao bent down, but before he could reach the ball, he felt his arm go out of control. This had not happened in a long time. Since Chen Zhao mastered spiritual connection, he had been able to control his arm perfectly. But today, his right arm went berserk again. One of the eyes on the back of his hand opened without warning. Then, the mouth of Glutton also opened. It grabbed the ball on the ground and swallowed it. The little girl's expression changed drastically. Shit, how did you discover it? I'll be back. Stunned, Chen Zhao watched as the girl ran away. Wait. What the hell? Rupert's face paled. He's too powerful. What spell is that? How did he devour the curse? After all, it was the curse of the sacrifice, nominally the most vicious curse. The curse of the sacrifice was not fatal. In fact, most curses were not. However, it would cause the target to bleed continuously, like menstruation, regardless of the target's gender. Before the curse was stopped or broken, the cursed would keep bleeding. Think about it. If a person was hit with the curse of the sacrifice, he or she would basically be menstruating every day. Nobody could take that. Furthermore, the curse was very difficult to break. Rupert had originally expected it to be a simple task. She clearly did not expect her target to break the curse. No, not break. He devoured the curse. She had never heard of such a spell. Chen Zhao, who had just scared Rupert away, was now having a headache as he stared at the eye on the back of his hand. Since the True Visionist's 6 pristine eyeballs were embedded in his right arm, they had been inactive. Even when he managed to control his right arm completely, he was still unable to activate the eyeballs. Chen Zhao had almost forgotten about them. Today, for some reason, he managed to activate the first pristine eyeball, but he could not control it again. Nevertheless, after the mouth ate the ball, Chen Zhao felt a wave of satisfaction. What's this? Are rubber balls really that delicious? Should I go and buy a few more rubber balls? As for the girl's words, he did not hear them clearly. Chen Zhao thought that the girl was just too frightened. Luckily, she was only about 7 or 8 years ago. He did not have to worry about her telling everyone about what she had seen. Even if she did, people would think that it was just a child's imagination. On his way home, Chen Zhao kept studying his right arm. The eye was really troublesome. He did not know how he had opened it, and now he could not close it or even control the mouth. Suddenly, Chen Zhao had an idea. He could not control the mouth probably because the eye had somehow usurped his rights. Instead of controlling the mouth, could he control the eye instead? Chen Zhao tried it out. Indeed, the eye was much easier to control. He could feel the eye. Just then, Samuel trotted and jumped into Chen Zhao's arms. Master. Samuel, do you know what's happening? Pristine eyeball. You've activated a cursed eye and gained curse vision. What do you mean? Basically, it can detect the existence of curses. Most curses are inferior spells, but precisely because of that, they're hard to detect. This eye has the ability to sense and discover curses. But how did it manage to control the mouth of Glutton? Pristine eyeballs are just organs and have no awareness. It's just like how you see food and will subconsciously eat it. After thinking, Chen Zhao called Sienna. Sienna, where are you now? Chen, what a perfect moment. We've at Movich's power station. Come here quickly. There's a problem we can't solve. Chen Zhao was speechless. He called Sienna for help, but Sienna asked him to help her instead. Fine. Since Sienna had already made the request, Chen Zhao decided to go to Movich's place. He had no idea what they had encountered. It actually got Sienna. When Chen Zhao reached the power station, he realized that it was empty. I'm at the power station. Come out and bring me in. Soon, Movich tutors ran out. Chen, you're finally here. What's happening? Why is there no one in such a large power station? I asked everyone to go for a break. If they find out what's inside, I think nobody will come to work ever again. I definitely don't want to see that happen. So what's happening inside? I don't know the exact details. Today, an engineer discovered a glitch. He brought some people into the station and realized that something was attached to one of the generator sets. It looked like an enormous ant nest. In order to remove the nest, the generator set has to be stopped. So the engineer informed me, and when I saw the thing, I informed Sienna. And then, after Sienna came, her expression clearly changed. She asked me to empty the station first. Bring me in. When they entered the power station, Chen Zhao saw Chris waiting at the entrance. Chen, you're finally here. What's the situation now? I don't know, Sienna didn't allow me to go in. Too dangerous, she said. Only Cheryl followed her. Chen, am I very useless? Chen Zhao did not know how to reply. Although it was an established fact, he could not say it directly. Actually, you're really useful. You have just yet to discover your talents. Really? I think we should talk about the current situation. Chen Zhao turned his eyes away. Of course it's fake. Just then, Cheryl ran out in an awkward manner. There were signs that she had transformed earlier, and her body was covered in a green liquid. Chen, here you are. Can you defeat a nest of curses? Chapter 412, Is it here for comic relief? Chapter 412, Is it here for comic relief? Nest of curses? What the heck? Lead me to see, Chen Zhao said. Chen. Chris stopped Chen Zhao. Can I go look too? Chris gazed imploringly at him. Earlier, Sienna didn't let her go in, because she feared she would give Sienna trouble. Since Chen Zhao was here and Chris knew how he was, she hoped she could go in under his protection. Chen Zhao considered this. Come if you want. Chris was overjoyed. Movich tutors also asked, what about me? I can't stay here alone. Since Chen Zhao was willing to have Chris tag on, he had no reason to refuse Movich. Everyone, come along so you're not alone. It's more dangerous that way. A while later, Chen Zhao saw a light inside. He remembered that it was the light of magical phosphor. Next, Sienna ran out in a pathetic state. Huff, huff, Chen, you're finally here. If you didn't come, I would have died in there. What's going on? Roar. A strange green-skinned creature ran out. It had 4 gangly limbs and was stuck on the wall, crawling like a lizard. It was extremely fast. What's that? Disaster. What? Its name is Disaster. It was a witch before. Sienna's expression was unnatural. Just then, Disaster reached Chen Zhao. A tongue shot out of its big mouth, curling toward Chen Zhao's left arm. Careful. Sienna cried. The Disaster wanted to drag Chen Zhao over with its tongue, but Chen Zhao didn't budge. He felt that it wasn't very strong, probably at the same level as Black Ma and White Ma. Seeing that it couldn't move Chen Zhao, the Disaster jumped and pounced on Chen Zhao. Thud. Chen Zhao swung his right arm with full power and whacked the Disaster's head. Everyone's mouth fell open, watching Chen Zhao distort the Disaster with one punch. Back off. Disasters release curses before death. Don't breathe in the green gas it releases. That's the curse. Everyone jumped away when they heard Sienna's words. The Disaster's body started evaporating into green vapor. Getting an idea, Chen Zhao quickly activated the cursed eye. The mouth of gluttony also opened at once. It took a deep breath, sucking in all of the green vapor. Chen, what are you doing? Nothing, Chen Zhao said, shrugging. Just purifying this place. Sienna's eyes were even more troubled when she looked at Chen Zhao. The creature that she couldn't fend off was just a matter of a punch for Chen Zhao. Tell me what happened here. Later. There are more. More. Chen Zhao looked into the deep cave and shrugged. Let's go look. Just then, a Disaster darted out from under a huge pipe. This time, Chen Zhao didn't even need to punch. The mouth of gluttony opened its mouth at the Disaster. Everyone watched as Chen Zhao's hand suddenly enlarged. His palm turned into a huge mouth that bit down on the Disaster. The bottom half of the Disaster was still struggling, but the mouth chewed a few times and swallowed the creature. Chen, what spell is that? Sienna asked. Mouth of Gluttony. Gluttony, one of the 7 demon kings of hell? Huh. Chen Zhao was surprised that Sienna would think of this. Do you know about it? I don't know the spell, but something that can be related to the 7 demon kings won't be weak. Magic originated from demons. As a witch, Sienna obviously knew this. Magic didn't distinguish between good and evil. If there was a categorization, then all magic would be labeled as evil. Thus, magic was also known as demon magic. This was one reason why the church hunted witches back then. Finally, Sienna brought Chen Zhao to the nest of curses. It was something that looked like a beehive, hanging on a huge generator. Green liquid dripped down constantly. There were many tiny holes on the nests outside. There was an opening on the bottom that looked like a reproductive organ. It kept moving like it was producing something. A Disaster was using all its might to crawl out of the organ, but it had nowhere to apply force. It could only swing in the air. Finally, the organ of the nest of curses spat the Disaster out. As soon as the Disaster landed, it pounced toward Chen Zhao's group. Chen Zhao repeated his actions, swallowing the Disaster again. Chen Zhao was about to approach the nest, but Sienna stopped him immediately. Don't get close. That nest is really dangerous. Dangerous? Chen Zhao asked in confusion. It doesn't look like it can attack. Sienna pulled a walnut-sized marble from her pocket and threw it at the nest. Countless long and thin tentacles instantly shot out of the holes all over the nest. The marble was shattered in mid-air, followed by an intense explosion. The marble must have been made out of magical phosphor. The explosion was similar. The tentacles all had a thorn at the bottom. If Chen Zhao had approached it unprotected like earlier, he would probably get stabbed through. Chen, do you have a solution? Sienna asked. Chen Zhao thought for a moment. He glanced around and saw the tools scattered on the side. He grabbed a wrench and activated the mouth of gluttony on his right arm. A layer of gold shone on his right arm. Chen Zhao hurled the wrench. The wrench flew extremely quickly. The tentacles didn't even have time to reach out and the wrench had already slammed into the nest. A great amount of green liquid spewed out. The group hurriedly took a step back. Only Chen Zhao and Shirley didn't fear the liquid. The injured nest of curses picked up its reproduction pace. Chen Zhao grabbed a small hammer and threw it again. A disaster was half pushed out but was suddenly swallowed back when the nest of curses was injured again. No. More accurately, it was eaten. The nest of curses actually ate that disaster. The bottom half of the body had been two halves. Now, it suddenly split apart like a blossoming flower into 5 slabs of flesh. Each slab was covered in poisonous fangs. The surroundings of the nest of curses opened up. An arm reached out. Then a leg reached out. But the leg grew right next to the arm. 5 more arms or legs grew out after that. They all grew without order. Some were on top, some below, some left, and some right. It looked really awkward. The next moment, 4 or 5 disaster heads poked out of the reproductive organ. Ah! Is it here for comic relief? Chapter 413, Will you support me if I stop taking illegal deals? Chapter 413, Will you support me if I stop taking illegal deals? Sienna wanted to maintain the serious atmosphere, but as she looked at the weird limbs and heard Chen Zhao's tone, the horrifying atmosphere vanished. It does look slightly funny. The walking nest of curses suddenly leaped at Chen Zhao, who was prepared for it. He opened the mouth of glutton as wide as he could and enveloped the nest from above. Munch. Only the lower half of the nest remained. Chen Zhao felt somewhat full, but there was still something left. Whatever, it's okay to be too full. He controlled the mouth and did the same thing again. The nest was gone. After the second bite, the mouth was clearly chewing and digesting the food much more slowly. Chen Zhao had no choice but to drag his huge arm along. Everyone looked at his arm. Chen Zhao immediately said, I'll eat anyone who dares to laugh at my arm now. Ha! What lovely weather. Movich turned his head to look at the ceiling. After a while, the mouth finally digested the nest. Chen Zhao's arm returned to its original size. He moved his arm around and could feel the power within it. Tell me what's happening. Someone has been hunting and killing witches. Sienna had a very solemn expression on her face. What? The nest of curses is made from the corpses of 10 witches. Their bodies developed into the nest, which in turn hatched them, turning them into disasters. What's the point of doing that? Chen Zhao asked, confused. If all the 10 disasters are completely hatched, they'll start to kill and devour each other. In the end, there will only be one left. And then, the disaster will turn into a calamity. Is it very strong? Dunno. Sienna shook her head. I'll ask the witches who specialized in curses. Maybe someone will tell me the answer. First of all, you said someone's been hunting witches, so the person is definitely more powerful than an ordinary witch. It must be difficult to kill 10 witches, right? Chen Zhao asked. Sienna nodded. The person is not just strong, but also very cruel. I don't understand why he or she would do this. Next, why would that person place the nest here? Could it be placed by a staff member here? Chen Zhao looked at Movich tutors. I don't think so. I suspect that the nest has escaped from the person's control. That's why it's here. It should be a coincidence. Why? I found traces of the nest moving, near the vent there. I've also checked the surveillance video records. Before the nest of curses appeared, nobody's been here. In fact, the engineer would not have come here if not for the malfunctioned generator set, Movich said. Fine. Let's say it's not a staff member here, Chen Zhao said. The only thing we can confirm is that the person is really powerful. Sienna, do you know anyone who's that powerful? Everyone looked at Chen Zhao. Sienna also pointed at him and said, "You." "Not me. I wouldn't do such a perverted thing. There aren't many powerful witches in LA, let alone someone who can kill 10 witches. Is there anyone you suspect?" "Not really. Forget it. Let's get out. It smells so bad here," Chen Zhao suggested. The group walked out of the station. The air outside was indeed much fresher. Burp. Everyone looked at Chen Zhao, who helplessly glanced at his right arm. "It's my arm. It's too full." Everyone was speechless. They sat down and discussed for a long while, but to no avail. After all, they had too little important information. There was no way they could deduce anything useful. "I'll go and ask someone about it. Chen, if needed, I think you should help us again. The person's intention should be to create a calamity. The nest of curses here has been destroyed by you, so the person might start to kill witches again." "Sienna, aren't you in a dangerous spot then?" Chris asked. "Sienna, if you need anything, call me anytime. I'll be there as soon as possible." "Yes, I understand." Sienna also did not dare to be careless. After all, the incident was very unusual. 10 witches had been killed. The person was powerful and brutal. On their way back home, Sienna, Chris, and Cheryl all seemed listless. Sitting in the back seat, Sienna grabbed her phone. "Rupert, where are you now?" "What?" "I need your help." "Not free." "I have a big deal at the moment. I discovered a nest of curses today," Sienna said with a serious tone. There was a momentary period of silence. "Are you all right?" "Yes. Fortunately, my friend arrived in time to prevent the worst-case scenario. Do you know another powerful witch apart from me? Even you aren't confident about taking down a nest of curses, right?" "Nobody can be confident on that. That's a meaningless statement. I'm not calling to argue with you. I just want to remind you to be careful. I don't know who the culprit is yet, but the person is definitely very strong. If she can create the first nest of curses, then she can certainly create the second. I'm not scared of her. Do you know anyone in LA who might have done this? Or anyone who might know how to make a nest of curses?" "Dunno. You know that I seldom talk to other witches, even you, not to mention others." "All right. If you have any clue, remember to tell me." "For what?" "So that you can go and kill yourself. I can't beat such a lunatic, but my friend can. Oh, by the way, lend me the spellbook that teacher left for you. I need to look at a few curses. You have another illegal deal. Or else. Will you support me financially?" "Forget it. You can't even sustain yourself." Sienna did not know what to reply. Indeed, she had a really tough life. After she hung up the call, she fell into silence again. "Sienna, who was that?" Cheryl asked out of curiosity. "A younger sister. She's even younger than you." "Why do I feel that she's older than you?" "She's my teacher's second student. She awakened on the second night, so she's much more talented than me. Also, she's very mature." Chapter 414, How Can I Lose to a Man? Chapter 414, How Can I Lose to a Man? Miss Rupert, did you start yet? Pierce South asked impatiently. "No, why are you in such a hurry?" Rupert said with a voice-changing tool. "The man isn't a normal wizard. I have to prepare sufficiently. Just wait for my news." "You're so annoying." Pierce South was annoyed, but this was a famous witch. He could be angry, but he didn't dare express it. "Okay, that's all." Rupert hung up the phone. Rupert's temper wasn't good at all. Of course, this was also because she was too young. She had to use this method to disguise herself so others wouldn't dare to offend her and she could protect herself. "How can I beat that guy?" She had a headache. Rupert flipped through the spellbook in her hands. Suddenly, she stopped at one page. Swallow all is a spell from the King of Gluttony. Rupert's heart jumped. The image of the spell looked really similar to the spell that the man used today. Unfortunately, the book only introduced the spell. It didn't include how to use it. This disappointed Rupert. Clutching her head, she cried out, "Teacher, why did you die so soon?" Right then, a figure emerged gradually behind Rupert. Whack! Rupert got hit in the head. Clutching her head, she said, "Teacher, I didn't say anything bad about you. I heard it all. Don't refute it. You know the spell swallow all, right?" "No. People did in ancient times, but it wasn't passed down." "Why not?" "The spell looks really powerful. Because no one can learn it, so it wasn't passed down. Many ancient spells are lost now. Magic only thrived during the Dark Ages." "Really? But I met someone today who used swallow all." "Impossible." "It's true. It's a Chinese man. I put the sacrificial curse on a leather ball. He discovered the curse and swallowed both the ball and the curse." "Are you sure?" "Yes. I'm sure that it's the swallow all spell." "Then you better not piss him off. The spell couldn't be passed down, but it's a spell of the Seven Kings. It's the personal spell of the King of Gluttony. The magic needed to use it is multiple times what you have. You can't win against him." "But that's a man and I'm a witch. How can I lose to a man?" "A wizard's magic power and status aren't as high as a witch, but this doesn't mean there aren't exceptions. Don't underestimate anyone." "I'm not underestimating him. That's why I'm thinking about how I can beat him." "Why must you get involved with an enemy like him?" "Think about it," Rupert replied earnestly. "If I don't get involved with him, I won't have money. If I don't have money, I'll die of starvation. If I die of starvation, you'll lose someone to guard. I'm working so hard all for you, teacher." Rupert's teacher facepalmed. "Why did I choose to protect you back then? I should have chosen Sienna." Camilla was also frustrated, but she'd chosen Rupert because Rupert was her daughter. In fact, she was her daughter who'd been sealed for 20 years. Rupert was actually similar to Sienna in age. Camilla had been forced to seal her daughter for a certain reason. After that, she'd failed in a mission to attack a ghost ship, so her daughter stayed sealed. Camilla didn't become free until recently. Then she found Sienna and saved Rupert from the seal. After being sealed for 20 years, Rupert's memory grew muddled. She forgot that Camilla was her mother. Rupert thought that she was Camilla's student, just like Sienna. "Stop thinking. I won't let you go against someone that you have no chance of winning. You can't stop me. I'm your teacher," Camilla yelled. "But you're my guardian spirit now. Shouldn't you be protecting me, instead of stopping me? Sometimes, stopping you is protecting you too. I think you should go protect Sienna instead. She seems to be in big trouble. Super big trouble." "What trouble?" "She ran into a nest of curses. Someone's making them." "Is she okay?" "She's okay for now, but someone in LA is hunting witches. She's so weak. She'll definitely be in more danger than me." Crack. "Chen, you got stronger again." Farley looked at the glass shards in Chen Zhao's hands. She wasn't surprised anymore. Chen Zhao would get stronger every now and then. After that, he wouldn't be used to his strength and destroy things everywhere. Chen Zhao was frustrated too. After the mouth of gluttony had eaten and digested the nest of curses, he'd gotten stronger. He wasn't sure just how strong his right arm was now. "Farley, I can't sleep with you tonight." "Oh." Farley was surprised. It was Chen Zhao's first time voluntarily not sleeping with her. "You're busy tonight? Sienna might be in trouble. If she's unlucky, it could kill her. I need to research a little and see if I can help her." "Okay, but you need to be careful too. Don't put yourself in danger, all right?" "Of course. I'll protect myself." Crack. Chen Zhao accidentally warped the bowl in his hands. This was made out of metal. His left arm seemed to have gotten stronger too. It wasn't as crazy as his right arm, but the change was obvious. "It's right that you're not sleeping with me tonight. With your crazy state, You'll definitely hurt me. Chen Zhao shrugged. It seemed that he had to get used to this strength faster, so Farley wouldn't kick him out. He went to the gym to test his right arm. He could now lift a 300-kilogram barbell like it was a dumbbell. This wasn't his limit either. Snatching 500 kilograms with one arm was easy too. Now, he was considering getting a custom-made barbell. This barbell was at a professional standard, but the bar was already bent from the huge weight. If he added more weight, it would definitely snap. Next, he used a pulling method to try to test his left arm. He could pull around 1,400 kilograms. His right arm was more than twice as strong as his left arm. He felt like he could reach 3,000 kilograms. The current Chen Zhao was a true human-shaped monster. Chapter 415, Hate at First Sight. Chapter 415, Hate at First Sight. Despite his promise, Chen Zhao still snuck into the bedroom in the middle of the night. You've got a solution? Farley was in a light sleep and could feel Chen Zhao's hands moving on her body. Nope. Then why are you here? It's really troublesome. Importantly, we can't find the culprit. Speaking did not slow down Chen Zhao's actions at all. Farley began to pant. Can you tell me what's happened? Chen Zhao summarized the incident. After remaining silent for a while, Farley said, "Protect those 3 women." Yes. In the morning, the AI system automatically opened the blinds, and the warm sunlight shone through the windows. Chen Zhao only got up after Farley had prepared breakfast. Then, Farley went to work and Chen Zhao went to the gym again. Adapted to his new strength, he was delighted. After that, he went for a swim in the lake. It was a really pleasant day. "Sir, a call for you." Just then, Chen Zhao heard the AI system's electronic voice from the speaker. The AI system was connected to Chen Zhao and Farley's phones. If the phone was at home and was not picked up for over 30 seconds, the AI system will inform them. Moreover, if a special call was not picked up, an automatic reply would be given, "I am currently busy and I will call back later," or the system would initiate the voicemail mode. Chen Zhao had to admit that his life had become much more convenient after installing the AI system. After all, the system cost over $100,000. Chen Zhao felt that it was worth it. After getting to shore, he said to the system, "Pick up the call." "Hey, Chen." "Hi, Stephen. The film location is ready. Can you come here? We'll probably be starting in the next 2 days. I need to discuss the plan with you." "Sure. Gimme the address." "It's an island about 40 nautical miles from shore." "Does the story require filming on an island?" "Yes, the Mexican gang's base will be here. The plot is mainly about the conflict between the protagonists and the gang." "All right." Chen Zhao was neither an actor nor an investor, so he only needed to know the plot briefly. He had no right to ask Stephen or the investors to change the script. "Bring Amorn here too." "Okay." Chen Zhao thought that it was inconvenient to bring Princess and the other pets out to sea. He had to leave them at a place. After some consideration, he decided to send them to Dell's house. "Chen, why are you here?" "I think I need to leave my pets here again. I can't ask Dell to look after my pets every time. Looks like I need to think of a solution. Also, lend me a car." "Of course, just pick a car from my garage," Dell said generously. Without being over-polite, Chen Zhao chose an ordinary Volkswagen. To be honest, it was not easy to find such a car in Dell's garage. It was full of sports cars. The ordinary car really stood out among them. After reaching the port, Chen Zhao was about to park the car when another car charged into the parking space at high speed. Chen Zhao stuck his head out and looked at the car. "Hey, buddy, I saw this parking space first." The other driver, a lady with glasses, also stuck her head out of the window. With no makeup at all, she looked like she was in her late 20s, and her hair was also casually put in a bun. "Does that mean it's yours?" The lady with glasses gave Chen Zhao the middle finger and then closed the door. "Fuck." Chen Zhao cursed and went to find another parking space. He only managed to do so after driving a few rounds in the parking lot. Needless to say, His good mood was entirely destroyed. When he entered the port, he saw the lady with glasses talking to someone else. The person should be the captain of the yacht. There were many such small passenger yachts at the port, but the cost was not fixed. Passengers would need to discuss transport with the captain in advance. Chen Zhao glanced at the lady and then approached the captain. "Hey, do you go to Gaia Island?" "Oh, you're going to Gaia Island as well?" The captain looked at Chen Zhao. The lady with glasses also glanced at him. Chen Zhao nodded. "How much does it cost?" $8,000, round trip, but you can only stay there for at most 6 hours. "I'm not with her. Also, 1,000 is too expensive. I can give you at most 500. "Wait, I'm with him," the lady said, grabbing Chen Zhao's wrist. "We're going together. Ms., do we know each other? We can still ride the yacht together. It's clearly cheaper for 2 people. Buddy, whether you're going alone or together, 500 is too little. 800, at least." "800? I only need 1,200 to rent a yacht for a day, and I can play on it for the entire day," Chen Zhao bargained. 700 then, the captain compromised. 600. The lady with glasses pulled Chen Zhao. 300 from each of us. "You'll pay 400. Chen Zhao smiled. "Why should I pay 200 more than you?" "Because you took my parking space just now." "Are you a member of the crew?" "I'm going there too." "I'll be able to help you there," the lady said. "No, I don't need help." "Are you an actor? Maybe I can get more shots for you." "I'll take $600, but are you done discussing?" the captain urged. "If you keep delaying, I'll have to raise the price. I still need to come back and get another passenger." "All right, 600, we'll pay half each." Chen Zhao also did not want to waste any time. After all, his time was more precious. The two boarded the yacht which set sail, but its speed was rather slow. "Captain, can we speed up please?" the lady with glasses shouted impatiently. "No, that's the max speed of my yacht. It'll be dangerous if we go any faster." Chen Zhao frowned. Their speed was clearly unusually slow. The captain must have noticed that they were in a hurry, so he deliberately slowed the yacht down in order to extort more money from them. Furthermore, his reason was very valid. Even if they called the police, it would be useless. "Hey, think of a solution," the lady said anxiously. "What can I do?" "What a useless man," the lady complained. "Why don't you think of a solution to prove that you're not useless?" Chen Zhao rolled his eyes and ignored the lady. "Do you believe that I have many ways to get you kicked out of the crew?" the lady threatened. "Nope," Chen Zhao sneered. Chapter 416, Menopause. Chapter 416, Menopause. "How come you stopped?" Even Chen Zhao couldn't take it this time. "Engine broke down," the captain said offhandedly. "Then hurry and fix it," Glasses Girl yelled impatiently. "The sun is too bright. Wait until the clouds come over." Chen Zhao went into the cabin and dragged the captain out. He grabbed the man and hung him over the deck. "If the boat doesn't start in 10 minutes, I'll feed you to the sharks." The captain obviously just saw that Chen Zhao and Glasses Girl would be easy to take advantage of. However, Chen Zhao didn't plan on going easy on the captain. The captain almost pissed his pants. To him, Asians always stayed low-key in America. They would just bear it even when people bullied them. Who would have thought that Chen Zhao would be so aggressive and attack him directly? As expected, the boat started after the threat. Even the repair step was skipped. The boat was even faster too. Glasses Girl glanced at Chen Zhao. "Barbarian. Bitch," Chen Zhao shot back. This girl kept bugging Chen Zhao to solve the problem earlier. After the problem was solved, she called him barbarian. Chen Zhao couldn't stand this. Finally, the boat reached land. Chen Zhao glanced at the captain. "Stay here. If you dare to leave, I'll show you." He jumped off after threatening the captain. Glasses girl looked at him and scoffed. Idiot, you think he'll listen to you? Chen Zhao didn't feel like responding to her. He really didn't care if the captain ran off. Amorn was swimming nearby. That small boat wouldn't be able to take Amorn's hit. After Glasses girl got off the boat, she didn't feel like dealing with Chen Zhao anymore either. She ran toward the small island. On the other hand, Chen Zhao wandered around. Gaia Island had basic infrastructure left behind from the fishery decades ago. But after 20 years, LA no longer had any fisheries nearby. There was a pier of average size, but the coast was lined with rocky beaches. Carrying a briefcase, Agatha heard Stephen's roar from far away. Agatha had worked with Stephen for 4 years. She knew practically everything about this dictator now. She missed the cruise ship in the morning because her alarm had broken. She ended up paying $300 to get over here. Not only was she late, she knew that she had to face the storm named Stephen now. Agatha, you still came? Stephen raised his voice immediately when he saw Agatha. Why don't you just disappear? Then I have a reason to get a new assistant. Mr. Stephen, someone from the crew gave me a hard time along the way. He purposely delayed me. If not for him, I would have gotten here long ago. Who is it? I don't know him, Agatha replied pitifully. He must be new. Don't ever make me wait an hour again. I hate waiting. Do you understand? This is your first time, and I hope it's your last time. If you make me wait again, I'll make you sleep on the street. Yes, I understand, sir. Give me those documents. Stephen's volume was still very high. Agatha hurriedly handed the documents to Stephen and followed him obediently. They hadn't started filming yet, so they were still building some basic scenes. I don't need you here, Stephen said, waving his hand when he realized that Agatha was still there while he looked over the documents. Go check the infrastructure for the next scene. I don't want any emergency situations. As if freed, Agatha hurriedly bowed out. She started surveying the film site. Of course, she wasn't in charge of the work. The heads of the crew weren't under her control. At that moment, Agatha saw the strolling Asian. Chen Zhao seemed like he was on vacation. He just enjoyed the scenery along the way. Agatha immediately went up to him, pointing at him. What are you doing? Are you here to have fun? Don't you know how busy the crew is? Do you know how many people are waiting for you? How many people are waiting for me? Am I that important? Chen Zhao was confused. If you don't want to work anymore, then get out. The crew doesn't need slackers like you. Agatha took all her anger from Stephen out on Chen Zhao. Most of the crew were seniors that she couldn't offend. However, Chen Zhao looked like a rookie. She could yell at him without worry about the consequences. Chen Zhao picked at his ears and looked around. Seeing his attitude, Agatha was even more furious. Chapter 417, You need to apologize to my friend. Chapter 417, You need to apologize to my friend. Just then, Agatha heard Stephen's voice. Hey, you're finally here. Agatha was clearly delighted. However, the next moment, she saw Chen Zhao walk up and hug Stephen. Only friends would do that. They were definitely not a superior subordinate pair. Old man, you've been playing too much recently. Chen Zhao patted Stephen's back heavily. Stop that. Cough. Stephen made a few coughs. What? He's not a crew member. He's Stephen's friend. Bastard. He must have done it on purpose. He deliberately had a conflict with me. Fire almost spurted out from Agatha's eyes. The other crew members were glad that they were not involved, or else they would be the unlucky ones. Just then, James appeared from somewhere. Behind him was a lady who looked quite pretty. Mr. Stephen, Mr. Chen, hi. When Stephen and Chen Zhao saw James, they knew at once what he had just done. Nevertheless, Stephen was too busy to care about such things, while Chen Zhao was not in the position to speak. Agatha was more frustrated by the fact that James also knew Chen Zhao. She felt as if the entire crew had been deceiving her. Everyone was trying to harm her. Stephen looked at Agatha. Agatha, you need to apologize to my friend. Mr. Stephen, Agatha realized that she had hit a hard snag. However, she was extremely disgusted by Chen Zhao. You offended my friend. Stephen stared at Agatha with a serious look. I wasn't wrong, Agatha shouted, mustering her courage. Then you're fired. Stephen did not hesitate at all. Chen Zhao similarly showed no sympathy. Since the start, this irritating woman had been making trouble herself. Chen Zhao did not think that he should forgive her. Mr. Stephen, I've followed you for 4 years. You're firing me just for an outsider? Correct. If you have any other questions, please talk to my lawyer. Stephen pulled Chen Zhao away. He was not planning to have a long chat with Agatha. You'll regret this. Stephen, you bastard, tyrant. And you fucking dogs. I won't let you off. Stephen looked at Chen Zhao. Chen, you just made me lose an assistant. You need to compensate me. What the fuck? You fired her yourself. I've been experiencing lumbago recently. You should restrain yourself, old man. No way, Stephen rejected immediately. Is Amorn here? Yes. The two went to the beach and saw a shipwreck in the sea, as well as someone swimming toward the shore. What's happening? Chen Zhao realized that the person was the captain who had sailed them earlier. He muttered a few lines to Stephen. Stephen widened his eyes. Is Amorn that obedient? You can ask him to execute such a complicated command? Yap. I should change the script. I need to give him more shots. Stephen was unconcerned with the captain's tragic experience. In fact, he felt that the captain deserved it. Can you ask Amorn to come out? Wait till that asshole's gone. I don't want him to know that I'm involved in the shipwreck. You're careful as ever. The captain swam to the shore and asked for help from the two. Stephen asked the crew members to give him a blanket. Nonetheless, they would only bring him back when they were ready to leave. The two went to the shallow water zone. Stephen asked, do we need to go a bit further? Isn't it too shallow here? Chen Zhao shook his head and clapped his hands. Immediately, waves surged toward them and a giant charged into the shallow water zone. As the thing approached them, more of its body was exposed above the sea. It was like a stranded submarine. Stephen stared at the enormous beast before him, dumbfounded. Too big. It was really too big. It was formidably huge. Amorn's gigantic body was somehow realizing a suffocating aura. Can I touch him? Stephen asked in both fear and excitement. Amorn's size had totally exceeded his imagination. It was such a great visual impact. It was not the kind of killer whale that Stephen was expecting. Amorn was more like an ancient beast. Of course. Stephen took a few steps forward and the water reached his waist. He reached out toward Amorn's body. Suddenly, Amorn spouted a mouthful of water and Stephen fell into the sea. Re-air. Amorn made a weird sound, but it was obvious that he was pleased as he continuously slapped the water with his tail. Realizing that it was a prank, Stephen immediately turned his head. Chen, you asked Amorn to do this, right? It must be you. Haha. You want to get up his back? He can take you for a ride on the sea. Can I? Of course. Stephen used all his might to get up Amorn's back. Chen, aren't you coming? Nope. Amorn, let him feel what it's like to be the king of the sea. Amorn began to move his huge body, which was indeed tiring in the shallow water zone. When he returned to the deep zone, however, he sped up. At the beginning, Stephen was terrified, but he slowly forgot his fear and only excitement remained. He felt as if the entire sea was beneath his feet. It was a unique feeling that was hard to describe. It was as if he had regained youth. It was totally different from a ship or a speedboat. It was thrilling, intriguing, and beautiful. Roar! Stephen held onto Amorn's dorsal fin. Suddenly, Amorn leaped out of the sea and then back into it. Stephen saw a great white shark in Amorn's mouth. It was an adult great white shark measuring 6 meters. It would have been a marine killer, but now, in front of Amorn, it was insignificant. Stephen enjoyed himself for a full 10 minutes before Amorn sent him back to shore. However, he was reluctant to leave. Stephen, you'll get another chance next time. When you start filming the movie, you can play all you want, as long as it won't affect your progress, Zhao said. Fine, Stephen was just being slightly playful. I can't imagine how you managed to make him so obedient. He's smart. He's very big. You sure killer whales can reach this size? You're looking at him yourself, aren't you? Fine. Chapter 418, Crazy Woman. Chapter 418, Crazy Woman. I'll have someone take you back. Stephen ordered one of the crew's boat for Zhao. His work with the crew wasn't done yet, so he could only walk Zhao onto the boat. Zhao had to return to Ukla. Tiger was still in his recovery training these days. Recovery training was very important, so Zhao had to try not to miss any days. Stephen was a workaholic. He went wild during breaks, since he was old but his heart wasn't. But once he started working, he would also work without rest. He didn't return to the pier until nighttime. As soon as he got off the boat, a figure charged over and poured some liquid onto him. Old asshole, die. Stephen and the other staff were all shocked. They thought it was acid or something else, but Stephen didn't feel any pain. Looking up, the person was already restrained. It was none other than Agatha, who he'd just fired. Take this crazy woman to the police. Stephen yelled angrily. He shook off the water on him. Had the crazy woman poured water on him to scare him? Stephen still didn't feel safe, so he went to the hospital to check. He also collected the liquid for a test. He finally felt reassured after it was confirmed that he was okay. The water that Agatha had poured on him was just normal water. By the time Agatha left the police station, it was already dawn. That old bastard Stephen and that Chinese man, I'm gonna kill you both. You two deserve to die. Agatha's features were dark and had a murderous veil. When she got home, she saw that the light was on. Who is it? She was confused. She lived alone and had no one else in her house. Agatha didn't think it was a thief either, because she'd set up a ward in her door. It would be activated if a stranger entered, but she didn't feel that her ward had gone off. It must be someone she was familiar with. Agatha pushed the door open and saw someone sitting in the living room. When the person sensed Agatha, they stood up. Hi, Agatha. Teacher Evangeline? How come you're here? Agatha gaped at her teacher. Evangeline had disappeared for 20 years and was now in front of her. What? Surprised. Teacher, where did you go these years? Evangeline smiled at Agatha and opened her arms. You grew up and matured. Agatha hesitated, but she still hugged Evangeline. She felt that Evangeline was hugging her too tightly. She couldn't breathe. Teacher, not so strongly. But instead of letting go, Evangeline hugged her even more tightly. Teacher, teacher. It felt like Agatha's ribs were about to snap, but Evangeline hugged tighter and tighter. Teacher. Agatha. Evangeline suddenly applied more strength. Crack. Finally, she let go. Agatha's body turned limp. She collapsed onto the ground, blood trickling out of her mouth. Agatha, don't be mad at me. Evangeline wriggled her body. There seemed to be something moving in her neck. Ethan was under house arrest by Li Qing these days. He wasn't even allowed to take out the garbage. He could only sit in the motel all day. It felt like he was about to die. Just then, a beautiful woman walked over. Ethan's eyes brightened. Hi, do you need a room? Yes. One person? Yes. Ethan studied this woman. She was honestly too pretty and her clothes looked expensive too. She didn't look like the type to come to his crappy motel. I'll take you to your room. Okay. Just then, Li Qing came downstairs. When she passed by the woman, they looked at each other at the same time. They seemed to sense something. Li, watch the counter. I'll take her upstairs. Mr. Ethan, How about I take her up? You can watch the store. No, no need. I'll do it. There was no need for someone else to lead this pretty girl. He could do it himself. Maybe something lustful could happen. Ethan grew more excited as he thought about it. Mr. Ethan, your STDs haven't healed yet, Li Qing said without feeling shame. Please don't go walking around. Li, Ethan's face reddened. Okay, he would have no lustful events. This pretty girl definitely wouldn't get in bed with him anymore. What a pity. Miss, please follow me. Evangeline glanced at Li Qing and followed behind her. On the third floor, Li Qing slowed down and tensed slightly. Evangeline smiled faintly. You seem scared of me, Chinese witch. What are you? Li Qing stopped and looked at Evangeline with furrowed brows. Guess. Evangeline suddenly grabbed Li Qing's neck. Li Qing reacted quickly too. She somehow had a red string in her hand. The string quickly wrapped around Evangeline's wrist. Then there was a sizzling sound. Evangeline immediately pulled her arm back. She saw that there was a deep red mark on her arm. Red string burns, 7 stars light up. Li Qing turned her finger. The string came back, wrapping around her finger. She pointed forward again. Kill all evil. Evangeline was pointed in the chest. There were suddenly countless screaming souls on her. Li Qing instantly felt dizzy and retreated hurriedly. But she couldn't block the screams. They were about to burst her eardrums. Guard the heart with the lights as guidance. As soon as Li Qing cleared her mind, Evangeline grabbed her chest. Ah! Li Qing cried out. She was sent flying into the wall. Evangeline was about to climb the wall when Ethan came up the stairs. Seeing the strange-looking Evangeline, he yelled, "What's that?" Bang! Evangeline's chest was shot through, a bloody hole opening up. Ah! Evangeline roared at Ethan. Scared, Ethan fired his gun subconsciously. This time, he shot Evangeline's neck. Only half of her neck remained. She touched her neck and glared at Ethan. Ethan was about to piss his pants. What was this? She still wasn't dead. Chapter 419, You Ain't Going to Die, Stop Saying Your Last Words. Chapter 419, You Ain't Going to Die, Stop Saying Your Last Words. Evangeline was about to leap at Ethan when she felt a sharp pain in her back. She scratched her back and grabbed a burning white crystal. Immediately, she flung the white crystal away. Anyway, it was all that Li Qing could do. Just then, Evangeline realized that a large portion of her hand was festering. She did not know what the white crystal was, but it was hurting her greatly and continuously. Damn! Turning around, Evangeline jumped out of the window and fled. Li, how are you? Ethan quickly charged up to check Li Qing's injury. What was that? I dunno. Barf! Li Qing could not help but spit out a mouthful of dirty blood. When Ethan saw the black blood, he carried Li Qing back into her room at once. 4 alarming black marks were branded on Li Qing's chest. Ethan was at a loss, having never experienced anything like this before. Suddenly, Ethan thought of someone. Chen. Li, lie down first. I'll call Chen. Chen, there's a big problem. Come here now. Ethan. What time is it now? Don't tell me you've been arrested. I'm not going to bail you out. No, it's Li. She's hurt. Auntie Li? Chen Zhao was fully awakened. What happened? I don't know how to describe this. We met a monster. Are you being serious? Yes. Absolutely. I'm not joking. I'm coming. Chen Zhao jumped up from the bed. Farley could roughly feel Chen Zhao moving. Chen, what's happening? Ethan's sick. I need to go out. At this hour? Yes. You should go back to sleep. Chen Zhao did not want Farley to worry for him. Chen Zhao drove the small truck and arrived at Ethan's motel in half an hour. Ethan, I'm here. Ethan ran down from upstairs. Chen, great. Quickly follow me. When Chen Zhao saw Li Qing's wound, he knew that it was abnormal. He immediately took out an angelic crystal and cleared the filth around the wound. Then, he removed the decaying flesh and sutured the wound. Mr. Chen, Li Qing eventually woke up. Auntie Li, what happened? Let me tell you about it. An hour ago, a very beautiful woman entered the motel and asked for a room. Li brought her to the room, but somehow they started fighting. I heard the noises and went up. The woman looked somewhat weird, so I shot her twice, once in her chest and once in her neck, but she still looked terrifying. She did not seem to mind her wounds at all. Do you have your gun with you all the time? It's under the counter. You know, I always stay open till very late, and there's always the possibility of emergencies. The noises just now were really loud, so I brought the gun. Mr. Chen. Li Qing looked at Chen Zhao. It was clear that she was still very weak. You're also special, aren't you? Chen Zhao hesitated. He knew what Li Qing meant. After a while, he nodded. I know some Western sorcery. Can you help me to take out the stuff from that box? Li Qing asked. Following Li Qing's instruction, Chen Zhao opened the box and saw many ancient books in it. These are... Mr. Chen, I'm a successor of Qingyi sect, but unfortunately, I'm the only one left. Please help me to pass down Qingyi sect. Chen Zhao gave a bitter smile. Li Qing was just feeling desperate. How could Chen Zhao accept the inheritance just like this? Auntie Li, I'm afraid. Mr. Chen, don't reject first. I'm not asking you to make Qingyi sect shine. You're really powerful. I'm only asking that if you meet a suitable person in the future, please pass the books to the person. Auntie Li, although you're injured now, it's not fatal. You don't have to find a successor immediately. Look at how old I am already. Even if I go out, nobody will become my disciple. Mr. Chen, please help me. I don't want to see Qingyi sect die in my generation. Chen Zhao smiled bitterly. Okay, I'll help you. I can't tell, but it should be a Western monster, Li Qing answered. The monster is not just odd, but also much stronger than a normal person. Mr. Chen, if you meet it, you mustn't take it head-on. If you discover its whereabouts, you should find a few colleagues and fight it together. Got it? Chen Zhao nodded and took out another angelic crystal. Auntie Li, please take this. Mr. Chen, vitality stones are too precious. You've already given me one earlier, which I used to fight against the monster. If the monster is still outside, you might run into it one day. You should leave it for yourself. Auntie Li, I still have more. Just take it. Ignoring Li Qing's objection, Chen Zhao placed the angelic crystal beside her pillow. Then, Chen Zhao left the room. When Ethan saw Chen Zhao carrying Li Qing's box, he asked curiously, Chen, why are you holding Li's things? She gave it to me. To you? Why not me? Did I not treat her well enough? These are all TCM books. Do you want to take a look? Oh, forget it. Chen, do you know what happened? Nope, but you need to take good care of her for a few days. Call me if there's a problem. What if we encounter that monster again? Prepare 2 more bullets. Can you give me a proper suggestion? No, I'm a doctor. What suggestions do you want from me? Chen Zhao glanced at the ceiling. Give me the surveillance video records here. Okay. Why? I'll ask others about it. Maybe someone will know what to do. Chen Zhao gave a random excuse. Chapter 420, The Seed Chen Zhao Planted. Chapter 420, The Seed Chen Zhao Planted. Sienna, are you resting? If you have something important, then I'm not sleeping. My friend was attacked by something today. I have 2 flash drives with the surveillance footage. Help me check it. Okay, come over. Chen Zhao hurried over to Sienna's home. It was his first time visiting where Sienna, Chris, and Shirley lived. The house wasn't big, but it was in a nice neighborhood, so the monthly rent wasn't cheap. They probably lived here so Shirley could have a good environment. Sienna and Chris were waiting for Chen Zhao in the living room. He took out the flash drives. He first played the footage from the front desk. A woman walked into the motel and Ethan started talking to her. Her? Sienna uttered in surprise. What, you know her? She can't be alive still. This is impossible. Why? Her name is Evangeline, a powerful witch. 20 years ago, she and my teacher and a dozen other witches went to fight a ghost ship. She never came back. What if she didn't take part in the mission? She definitely did. When I brought my teacher there back then, I saw her on the ship already. Chen Zhao played the second video. It was the footage from the third floor. Chen Zhao also saw the entire process of Li Qing fighting Evangeline. He saw Li Qing use Eastern spells on Evangeline. Then semi-transparent apparitions appeared on Evangeline's body and her body was distorted. Ah! Sienna cried out. I got it. What's going on? Evangeline is a death-speaking witch, or a death speaker. She's skilled in soul magic. When she fights, she can make her soul separate from her physical body and fight as a soul. It's possible that during the ghost ship battle, she hid her body first and then participated in the battle. However, the mission failed in the end. Her soul was trapped in the ghost ship. For some reason, she recently broke free and her soul returned to her body. But it's not just her. The souls of the other witches and the evil spirits also returned to her body. The dozen of witch souls and the evil spirits all combined into what she is now. What is she now? I don't know. This has never happened before. Chen Zhao was reminded of how he and Blackie had gone to kill the ghost ship before. Blackie had destroyed the ship and most of the evil spirits, but there had been too many. The mixed souls in Evangeline were most likely the souls that escaped from that time. Might she be the one hunting witches to create the nest of curses? Chen Zhao asked. Sienna furrowed her brows. If that's the case, then it's a problem. How big of a problem? She has so many people's souls combined. Most of them are from other witches too, so her magic must be unprecedentedly rich now. She'll know all sorts of magic, from toxicology, to death-speaking, spiritology, and divination. The souls and magic abilities of the dozen witches are all combined, in addition to a dozen spirits. She'll be physically strong too. Chen Zhao was quiet for a moment. Then he said, let's assume that she's the one killing the witches. Do you know why she would do that? No, but I must tell the other witches about this. If there are still some who are ignorant about this, they can get attacked suddenly. Is there a way to track her? I need to research, Sienna said. You decided to attack. She already hurt my friend, Chen Zhao said. The woman in the video? Yeah. Sienna nodded. I'll help you ask now. She called Rupert and said, Rupert, is teacher beside you now? Yeah, why? There's a problem. What problem? Evangeline is still alive and she's turned into a monster. She's the one killing the other witches. What? Rupert cried. What's going on? Sienna explained everything. Rupert was completely terrified. Evangeline had combined the souls of a dozen witches and evil spirits, possessing the knowledge, magic abilities, and power of the other witches. What kind of monster was this? Even if Rupert thought she was a genius, she still had to hesitate when faced with a monster like this. Teacher also escaped from that ghost ship. Ask her if there's a way to track Evangeline. Are you crazy? Rupert exclaimed. Why do you want to track something so dangerous? My friend, a really strong friend, will act.